Oh man, hot boy. Nose hurt too. I don't know how my nose hurt. What I did to my nose. I got a nose job, y'all. Don't look pretty. So I once upon a time I had a big old nose. Now I got a bigger nose. What's up, LG? LG with your fine self. No. I ain't never seen what you look like, so that is to be determined. These dogs. Oh, got a Sunday, man. Everybody closed early on Sunday. I know I said I wasn't gonna go live for a little bit, but I lied. That's right, Steve lies sometimes. Nah, I'm just good on my Sunday, man. I came out here to the little outlet mall out here. I'm already lost now. I don't know where I'm at. What's up, people? What's up, man? Like I said, I got a nose job the other day. Isn't it pretty? No. Nah, so I love my big old black nose, boy. It's the nose God gave me. It smells all, even unloyalty. Check the fit though. Ooh, with the J's. Steve looking fresh. Steve looking clean. Steven looking like a mean taco supreme. Yeah, I decided to go live today because, like I said, I ain't been out here in a minute, you know what I'm saying? So when I try to come out here, I try to go live with you because I always got a lot going out this way. So it's beautiful, man. I'm gonna show you. Like super beautiful, you feel me? Like it's just the other side of the mall. I don't even know what's down here. I don't think I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna turn around this way. My nose is definitely not a white man's nose. Hold on, yo. Maybe one of these days I'll go get a nose surgery so I can have a white man's nose. No longer an African American. Oh, put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let's see where we're gonna go at. That's the king. I got Daddy nose, man. Me and Daddy, like, we look the same. So Pastor Darby and me, we looked exactly the same, almost. So we got like his nose or whatever. So said, said my girl asked a question, and I wanted to pass it by you. Are serial killers going to hell? Absolutely, yeah. If they don't repent and get right, you know, I think anybody can change. Which I don't really know about psychopaths that much, but like I said, God said His blood redeems all. So if you accept Christ, man, before you die, you can still get into heaven. I mean, He's gonna hold that against you. You gotta pay for everything you ever done in this life. But if you killing people and you think that you're going to heaven and you ain't gonna repent of it, nah, you definitely ain't going there. Like, no, you going to heaven, all right. You going to the devil's heaven, an eternal paradise. Man. Cause I'm like, if you think about it, man, we think about what's up, Mike? We think about serial killers, man, but I'm just like, anybody that kills in general, I said, if you technically be honest, they said a serial killer is somebody that killed like 4 people or more. So when you got gangsters in the hood, man, you got Blood, Crip, GD, Vice Lords, and them, when they killing like 10, 11 people, like technically they are serial killers. You know what I'm saying? But you can be redeemed. I've seen killers be redeemed by the blood of Jesus, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen people that was in MS-13. I've seen people that was Blood, Crip. They was mad dog killers, man. But they get saved, you know what I'm saying? You can change, you know what I'm saying? I know a dude, man, like I said, he went to our ministry. He caught 2 bodies. But he was saved and redeemed by the Lord, you know what I'm saying? And so he changed his life around. He's a mighty man of God now, you know what I'm saying? You can definitely change your life, dog, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, fortunately, some people, that's just make mistakes, man. Some people just be in that type of life, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, like I said, if you accept Christ, that's all that matters. You know, like I said, we all got to give an account for what we did before in this life, so my rap sheet is long. It was like, uh-oh. Oh, man, don't reveal those things to me. Like, man, I don't even like myself. What's up, Lady C? Got LG, Lady C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, R, Z, R, T, T, U, V. Damn, I forgot my alphabet, bro. I'm slow. WXYZ. It's like, so hey, so I don't want to make you sad, but I just wanted to tell you your dad was my hero. Man, I told you if I had $1 for every time I heard that, man. Every time I get on stream, man, it's always somebody that says it, you know. But I understand it though. That's why I said I understand it. Like, you know, Daddy was one of a kind, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know another man that was like him. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, again, to us, man, he's Daddy. I'm like, he's Daddy to me. So I'm like, you know how Daddy is, you know. But I said, but to y'all, it's not common with y'all. So y'all like, oh my God, this is Pastor Darby. This is a great man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, Daddy been like that for years. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. But I don't get sad about that. People talk about Daddy. I don't get sad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you know, people just talk. It's okay to, you know, have reverence and respect for a man, you know what I'm saying, for people. But only Negroes that come talking crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, them is the ones I don't like. Them the ones I'm like, I'm going to fade you when I see you. I'm putting my 5 rings upside your lip. Check the fit, though. Check the fit, though. Ooh, look at the fit. Ooh, I'm all Texas out. Hey, Mike, I said I wasn't gonna go live, but I said it's such a beautiful day. I'm in the outlet, mom. I'm about to go to the Louis Vuitton store. And if one of my lovely subscribers got $600, y'all can give me something from Louis Vuitton. I said, man, you know, they handkerchiefs be like $500, $600. I was like, hey, well, thanks to you lovely people, y'all can put $100 down each. He said, y'all can still, I said, close them doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. But you lovely people, I can raise $40,000 easily. $40,000. Y'all can give me my Louis Vuitton. I'm telling you, this is a small seed. If y'all sold a small seed of $100 each, I can raise $40,000. These fools out here, everybody drunk. It's Sunday, people. Should we not have reverence for the Lord? No, it really is, man. I went to the Gucci store. They had like a handkerchief for like $600. I was like, bro, it better be a magical, bulletproof handkerchief I can disappear with. I can like cloak myself with and then disappear. I said, boy, that better be the best. Better be like a Doctor Strange handkerchief or something. You better be getting up and fixing my dinner and flying around the house and doing my chores. Like, talking about $600 for a handkerchief, boy, that better be daggone drenched in the blood of Christ. It should have been the handkerchief they used to cover him up. I ain't paying no $500 for no handkerchief, boy. Look at all the stuff we got on. It's a small seed. Look, we got all these brands here, man. Got Toomey. Look, there's the Louis Vuitton store over here. It's beautiful out here, dude. Like something floating. There's a Chanel store. They got Omega. Hold on, that's Coach down there. Look, it's another Louis Vuitton store. Like, look at this. They closed though. Man, I want me a Louis handbag though. One of you lovely people can get me that. Yeah, they got a lot of nice stuff in here. I went in there one time, bro. They had cologne for like $400. I was like, what? It don't smell better than the stuff I wear. I was like, bro, y'all tripping. Y'all was mad tripping. It's beautiful out here, man. I can do a vlog out here. I've been meaning to come out this way. I'm like, I live closer now. I'm like 4 minutes away from where I live at, so I can be here every day. But they got the Gucci store. They got the Dior store. I saw Dior down there. It's Gucci, Dior. Hold on, I'm gonna take it over. They got Neiman, what is that? Neiman Marcus, whatever. Neiman Marcus. Look at that, that's pretty. Ooh, who wants a Gucci bag? You know that stuff probably like $2,000, dog. Pretty. I like Louis Vuitton better though. I think Louis Vuitton better than Gucci. Gucci's like overrated, I think. Like it's like all the rappers be like, good dog. It's cute. Nah, man. Check it out. Check it out. It's beautiful out here. Hey, Mike, where the crew at, Mike? Hold on. It's pretty, bro. Look at these purple flowers, man. Look at that. That's why I said Stevie be living it up out here, boy. Stevie be macking out this way. I be set up with the camera, and they be like, hey, papi, what's up with the camera? I'm like, hey, mamacita, no habla español, solo inglés. But check it out, though, check it out. Boom. Look at that waterfall, man. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's like all pretty up here. I just don't even know what that is, but they got purple flowers or whatever. Like, and then I think this is the men's Louis Vuitton store. That's the women's Louis Vuitton store right across there. So there's one right there, and then there's the men's section over here. I don't think I've been in this one. I've been in that one over there. So, never been in this one either over here. I usually don't really go down this way. This is more of the, Negro, you can't afford to look at these products type of section. Like, Negro, what is you lost section? Like, you should be there. I was like, man, this is usually where all the white people come in. I was like, man, the white people get the money. This is pretty stuff right here, man. Rolex, look at Rolex, all of that. That's why they be looking at me. It's like, oh, I hate to inform you, good sir, are you lost? I'm like, nah, man, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a millionaire. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, but the city trends is that way. He's like, Margaret, I do say, look, a Negro. Like, good sir, are you lost? Shall I point you in the EBT line? I don't turn this way. Like, now, Negroes got money. I be seeing a lot of black people with money. Yeah, man, this is pretty. I never been in this store either. It's a lot of cowboy stuff. One of these days, like I said, Steve gonna have a lot of bread. And thanks to you people's memberships, I need y'all to upgrade to my double mega membership. That's gonna pay for everything. People like, man, he got on a $1,000 Louis bill. It's like, what you got $1,000 Louis bill for? What you got? I was like, well, thanks to you guys. What's this over here? Do y'all know what David Yurman is? Like, hold on. I thought it said Glorilla from the side. It says Carolina. Like, Glorilla got a clothes store? Glorilla. Ooh. It's pretty out here, man. It's beautiful. You know why? There's no Negroes. Around blacks, never relax. Like, well, you get rid of black folks, it's a great place. It's always a good time when you're around Negroes that don't look like you. No, let's go to a Chanel store. Fellas, the way to a woman's heart is Chanel. I'm trying to tell you. If I got any fellas in here watching. Hold on. I'm gonna set up over here. Hey Mike, I think everybody's asleep, man, in the group chat. It's Sunday, they got the itis. I'll probably be here for a little bit though, so sit up and talk to y'all. Single ladies, can you hear me? Can y'all see me? Y'all can still hear me, man. Yeah, you know how we eat dinner early on Sunday, man. I try to tell somebody that. I say, yeah, I'm about to eat dinner. They said 3 o'clock. I said, yeah, that's just the time we eat dinner. They said, you mean lunch? I was like, who eats lunch on Sundays? I'm like, man, Daddy said dinner was 2 o'clock. But Daddy said dinner was 2 o'clock, man. Ain't no lunch. I said, I forgot, yeah, I'm not white. I don't put him down there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you know, we don't eat breakfast on Sundays either. So, like, people be like, now here they be like, oh, you want some breakfast before church? I was like, people eat breakfast before church? They was like, yeah, we're gonna get tacos. I was like, that wasn't a thing in our house, man. Daddy said, what no breakfast on Sundays? You wake up starving, you want to get you line, put that back. Like, get ready for church. He's starving. I'm like, boy, I want a meal, man. I'm starving. And then, that was the worst. That was no breakfast on Sundays. And then Daddy would take like an extra 3 hours preaching. Then he'd take an extra like 3-4 hours cooking. So come 3-4 o'clock, man, you starving. Your stomach is like turned inside out. So I said, Daddy, can we have a snack? I'm like, here, man, snack on this graham cracker. I'm like, man, a graham cracker ain't no snack. Like, bro, you used to get the cinnamon graham crackers. I was like, man, I don't want no daggone graham crackers. Like, Daddy, I want some food. And then we be ready to go out to eat. We about to cross the bridge over to Indiana to go like out to eat and go get the food. And so it's something fast. I used to love Sundays because we would go out to eat sometimes. So as soon as we about to cross the bridge, Daddy in his infinite wisdom, he's like, you know what? I want to cook something. Here, me do a U-turn. I was like, oh, this nigga. I used to be so mad. Steve, she would tell me, she said, boy, be quiet, you ain't paying for nothing. I said, that's the point. I said, I'm not paying for it, he is. I know, I'm paying for it, bro. A whole extra 4 hours of starving like this, I'm hungry. So I used to hate, man. I used to hate Sundays, like when it came to food time, because I be starving, dude. Daddy did not care, man. He'd take an extra 5 hours cooking. And he'd be like, nah, it ain't ready yet. He'll go and drizzle it with the juice and stuff. I said, man, it ain't even ready yet, dude. And he'd be like, yeah, we got another hour or two. I said, I don't want another hour or two. I said, I want you now. Like, bro, he's tripping. I said, Daddy, you could have saved yourself 5 hours if we would have went to Bob Evans instead. Bob Evans was right there. I said, you decided to cook. And then you got an angry son. I said, so now when I have kids, I'm going to do it to them on purpose. Like, yeah, I'm going to get y'all hopes up. Y'all thought we was going to go eat at Golden Corral? Nope. We're going to go have some of Stevie's stew. It takes 5 hours. Like, but Dad, why? Because your grandfather did it to me. That's why. That's hot out here. Keep a red rag on me. No relations. Hey, man. We was so hungry, man. We'll get the seasoned salt and just put the seasoned salt like. We used to be right across the street. Our first church, we was in the hood, so we was right across the street from a Dollar General. It's always a Dollar General in the hood. And so they used to have something called Munchies. It's a bag of chips or whatever that's mixed with everything, so they call it Munchies. So we go over at one time, man. I remember we went over at one time. Some girl that went to our church, she had a gun on. So we got out of church, man. I remember Daddy just got through praying for her. So after church, we went over to Dollar General. And everybody's running to the door. I'm like, what are they doing? What they doing? Turns out her gun fell out. I think she pulled out her gun trying to shoot somebody in the store. I was like, yo, what's happening? So the police came, you seen their handcuffs, they locked her up, took off. I said, bro, we just got out of church. I said, bro, Daddy just prayed for her. I said, what happened? I said, because I was thinking, well, if Daddy just prayed for you, you in church. I said, you can't go to jail. Like, there's something wrong with you. I said, nah, you a Negro. Daddy pray for you all you want to. You still a Negro, you still going to jail. So she got locked up. What's up, Crystal? She got locked up and got in the cop car. And so I asked dude, his brother, that was her brother there. I said, bro, what happened to your sister? He was like, man, don't worry about it. So mama kept telling me, she said stuff. She's like, Steve, don't worry about it. Don't ask about it. And so I was like, well, mama ain't want to tell me. So I said, I'm going to go ask her brother. And so he's like, bro, what you keep asking me, man? He's like, keep asking me, dog. And so mama, she said, didn't I tell you not to worry about it? I said, well, I need to know. I was like, I need to know what's going on. And shortly after that, they ended up closing down that Dollar General because it kept getting robbed. I mean, of course, it's in the hood. Hold on. They're going to fly. So yeah, safe to say that Dollar General didn't last long, man. And I go back to that area now and I look at it, I'm just like, it's not even the same, bro. That Dollar General been tore down. The hood been tore down, you know what I'm saying? Like, it looks totally different, you know what I'm saying? So now they need to go over and put a Lululemon in there. And then, I'm right actually across from a Lululemon. I didn't realize that till I said it. Put a Lululemon in there, throw out all the blacks. You got yourself one sweet paradise. Hold on, check the fit though, check the fit. Hold on. Check the shoe. I don't know if I can see my fifth and pop back. Yeah, it's the hood, that's why I said. I was like, Daddy, why you always put us in the worst place? He said, nah, this is our community. I said, no, your community. Like, I belong over in Jeffersonville, Indiana with the white people. It's not my community. My shoe. Yeah, everybody was checking out my fit today. I even had an older Mexican woman today. She was so old, but she said, oh, I like it, your shoes. Because I got on the red and the blue. And so she was like, oh, I like it, your shoes. It's so cute. I was like, and we was laughing. Everybody was like, oh, it was so cute. I was like, I know. Even the old lady know I got style. Even the old women like Steve. Steve got a chance with everybody. Oh, y'all can dress. I know about dressing. Like I said, I ain't no bum, so I make sure I dress nice, man. You never know who's watching. Then again, I do know who's watching. I got a lot of single sad sisters in there. Be here like, oh, I'm gonna shoot my shot at Stevie. You know, you're not. Don't worry, honey. It'll never be. Where happened to be Antonie? Like, Antonie, are you here? Can you hear me? I know they be watching my streams. They gonna be like, who is Antonie? So yeah, man, just been chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, like I said, I'm in Texas. It's getting hot, man. It's getting too hot here, dude. Like, luckily we're in the shade now, man. It's playing kind of cool today, but Oh my gosh, man, this heat is no joke, dog. Somebody was like, yeah, they passed out the other day from the heat. They said them and their husband was going somewhere, and then they said they was about to walk in the stadium, and then they said they was like, I think I'm gonna pass out, and then they just like passed out. I said, well, did anybody catch you? They was like, yeah, they called me. I said, good, man. If you hit your face on that ground, you gonna get up like your face been laying on a griddle or something. Like your face gonna be burnt because it's hot here, man. It's like too hot here, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually this place is packed out, but it's Sunday. I forgot. Like I think everything's about to close in a little bit, so I'm right up the street from it, so I can come here every day if I want to. I said, I don't shop at Louis Vuitton, but I can hang outside the store like a Negro. But yeah, how y'all Sunday going, man? Let me know how your Sunday is. What y'all up to? Whew. I think I'm gonna keep walking. I'll come back this way maybe later. Hold on. Oh, I know it's hot out there in Oklahoma. That seemed like desert out there. I don't even know what's even out there. I know Ember said she stay out that way. Hold on. Oh, check the fit, though. Check the fit. Is it the shoes? Is it the shoes? Hold on. Is it the shoes? Hold on. Is it the shoes, boy? What is your secret, Steve? I said, Steve be styling, boy. If I ever get locked up, boy, I'm going to have the freshest mugshot. I promise you, dude. My mugshot going to be so dope. I'm going to be like a light skin on my mugshot. I'm going to be over there grinning and cheesing. The light skin smolder look. Like, shit. So, you know how Steve is. Steve Christian, but Steve's a Negro. Like, he still's a Negro. Yeah. He been saved, but ain't saved from the streets. Do y'all still got a Banana Republic? Like, I know that thing was popular back then. Do y'all still got one of them in y'all city? Hey, and tonight, how you doing? My favorite of all time, somewhat. No, my favorite is me. That's my favorite. I'm out here where the white people be at. Beautiful. That's why I say, you know why it's so nice? No niggas. No blacks. We can have nice things if we get rid of your kind. It's still in them streets. I sure is in them streets. That's why I said there's a side of me y'all see and a side of me y'all don't see. That's the side you don't want to know. A couple of people had to find that out. They realized real quick they didn't want that side. So yeah, about a Victoria's Secret. We buy. Yeah, I got a Lush in y'all city. Lush. Yeah, usually more people out here. I think they about to close. I came over here kind of late. I forgot it's Sunday too. Everything closes early on Sunday. I think so. Steve Madden. I shop at Steve Madden. Ooh. They got Zales right across the street from Zales. They got K. Every kiss begins with K. Yeah, that's where all the rich people be at, man. Be the millionaires up here. Be the NBA players. All the investors, everybody, man, they got some money. All the white girls, they be up here. This is a paradise for me. I was like, yes, this is paradise. I need to find me a sugar mama with some money. Steve needs Steve down bad. I was like, baby, let's go to Lululemon. She's like, I know, it's on me. I said, oh, thank God. Because, I was going to say, I can't reimburse you. So I said, I need me an older white woman, boy, they going to take care of me. They ain't never had no problem with Steve. They willing to take care of me. I said, well, if it's for the PS5, some sacrifices got to be made. Yeah, Antoinette, she know what type of time I'm on. We in like synchronicity. It's like when I go live, she's like, you know what? I have the feeling to hop on live stream. I feel like he's live. The rest of y'all niggas show up whenever y'all want to. Y'all just don't even care about your boy. I'll be laying here in the streets just like y'all broke both my legs. Like, y'all show up later like, oh, hey, what's up, Steve? Like, yeah, well, I needed y'all to call the ambulance like 2 hours ago. But it's all right. I'll just lay here until the white people come pick me up. I sure need me a sugar mama. Are there any white women taking applications? Actually, it's at the end of the road. I'm gonna go this way. What about Doc Martens? Y'all shop at Doc Martens? I can't stand them shoes, man. I know that white girl you used to talk to. She had like a pair of Doc Martens, man. She was like, yeah, I paid like $300, $400 for these. I was like, girl, they ain't even all that. I was like, why would you buy those? That's like 2, 3 pairs of Jordans. Why don't you just go get some Jordans? I said, well, they're stylish. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, Doc Martens is just cheesy. What's up, DDG? Or DDH? He called DDG. DDH. Hey, shout out to DDG, man. Shout out to DDG. Never heard none of his music, though, but I know what he's going through as a father right now. He got a bitter baby mama, so yeah. Shout out to DDG. And that fake Little Mermaid, the girl that took over the Little Mermaid role, they should have kept Ariel white. I liked Ariel better when she was white. Say, I just be passing by trying to find an old white woman. Yes, ma'am. I'm looking. I've been looking for like the last year and a half. Like, where can I find one of them at? They come to me though. They really do. All white women come to me. So I'm just like, I don't know. I need to put myself out there. Maybe they'll pay my bills. That's all you gotta do is just love on me. I'm like, that's it. Free PS5? Yeah, I'll do it. Shoot, hey, a white woman know how to get me together. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I can't mess with you blacks anymore. Like, blacks make me so uncomfortable. I said, yeah, I need me a woman of a lighter complexion. I said, man, my mayonnaise and my women got to be the same complexion. If you ain't, I don't want it to. Hold on. Everything closed, man. I was going to get me some ice cream, though, man. I was like, go Chick-fil-A. I forgot it's Sunday. Chick-fil-A closed. Like I said, we got a Louis Vuitton. I just came from the Louis Vuitton store in there. So my old white woman to take me there, boy. She was like, which one you want, honey? I was like, oh, no, I couldn't. So she's like, no, get whatever you want. Like, oh, some models. Okay, I'll take these, and these. She's like, yeah, I got to get my boopy right. I said, oh, thank you, baby. He was like on all them little cute names. Like, yeah, white women know how to treat Steve. You black women had your chance. Like, yeah, the common Negro had your chance. Like, sorry, no more Judah. I'm Esau now. I'm an Edomite. Like, yeah, I could never. Go ahead, set up. Yeah. Shout out to the. I don't even like calling black women sisters. I hate that, man. When people say that, it's like that sounds so weird. Like, just say persons, colored person. I'm gonna start calling colors. Like, you colors, man. People talking about sisters. I'm like, man, I don't want to date a sister. I need a woman, man. That make me think of my sister. Like, nah, man. Yeah. How's that? It's kind of crooked. They're talking about a daggone. Hold on. Put this here. Should I put it up here? I think I should put it up here. That's a better backdrop. I like it. Oh, shoot. That's somewhat better. Keep it right there. Oh, it's so hot out here, y'all. For real. Y'all so lame, though. So, yeah, we just be out here cooling and chilling. Be out here cooling and chilling. Hold on. Rate the fit. One more time. Rate the fit. Hold on. See, I got the, hold on. Look at this. Look at the shoes. Yeah. Like Stevie's blood and ink ribbon. Nah. No relations, people. No relations. Although, my favorite color is red. Look, we got a Carlos Bakery here too, like the dude from Cake Boss on TLC or whatever, or THC or what it's called, or THC is the weed, my bad. TLC. What's up, Bree 03, coming to watch me, your boy Steve. He said he wants shut up. Hey, Crystal, shut up. Don't get nothing started, okay? Y'all be tripping. You know, I'm gonna sit down over here. Yeah, I heard everybody commenting my fit today, man. I was like, boy, they loved your boy, man. Everybody loves Steve everywhere I go, man. It's only the common Hebrew Canaanite Negro that don't like me. So forget the Canaanites, I hang around the Edomites. The Jezreelites or something like. I'm tired of Negroes. Ugh, it's hot out here. Well, thank you. I like the fit check. One day I'm gonna come in with some. I'm gonna come in with some nose rings, lip rings, some eyebrow rings. I'm coming with the cheek rings. They're like, "Sup, dudes?" Like, rate the fit, rate the jewelry. Like, oh, dude, not cool, not cool. You know, white people be like, "Hey, man, not cool." Mm. Nah, I'm everything but patriotic. I'm about to be patriotic because I'm tired of you Negroes. I was like, we're from the hood to be a true patriotic. I'm like, yeah, I support my flag and my country. Say, you Negroes just ain't grateful. The white man gave you freedom. The white man gave you Chick-fil-A, and this is how you treat him? This is how you present him? Like, he allowed you to be in his communities. He allowed you to drink from the water fountains, and this is how you repay him? Should have never gave you niggas books. I freed them. He said, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. Oh my God. Now, you know, it's funny. Daddy preached it before. He said, man, the worst thing white folk did, he said, was gave us equality or inclusivity. He said, because when they did that, he said, that really kind of stopped a lot of our true identities. He said, we was doing everything on our own. He said, but they included us in everything. And he said, it destroyed a lot of our movement. You know what I'm saying? That's why we can't really get nowhere. Because Negroes keep trying to fit in with everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? And then when they try to stand out, you know, they end up Hebrew Israelites. It's like, man. I said, I'm just grateful to be in the white nation. Oh man. It's like I could imagine being in an all black nation with all true jungle bunnies. No. You gotta lighten it out some. You gotta have here, and you gotta here, and you gotta here, and you gotta here. You gotta have too many blacks in one area. More and more I'm starting to become patriotic. I'm like, you know what, I'm tired of you niggas. I'm like, shoot. I'm about to become one of the Hodge twins or something. Ugh. Hey man, I want some lemonade, man. Everything's closed. I was gonna go right over to this cake shop over here, man. They closed early. It's like everybody closing early, man. Nah, I am a true Texan though. That's why I say I'm in Texas now. So I act like it. It took so long, man, to wean myself up off of that Louisville Negro mentality, bro. That's the hardest thing in the world, man. Like, I really believe the people from the Bible was from Louisville. They modern day Louisville people. Because, I mean, you know how they was stubborn with Moses? Like, them inside them niggas in Louisville is, man. Like, they got to be the descendants of Moses and the children of Israel. Because Louisville Negroes are a special type of stupid. I said, yeah, it takes them 40 years to do anything. So, yeah. 40 years to cross the desert, 40 years to get out the hood. It takes them to do anything. Hold on. How your Sunday, Crystal? What y'all up to? How your Sunday, Antoine, Mike, all y'all? I don't care about y'all Sundays. I care about hers. Like, I'd rather hear her Sunday. You guys are just people. Ow. Ow. Hey, bro, I had the craziest dream. I ain't gonna lie, bro. My dream's been crazy lately. Nah, you ain't been to Louisville. That's why I said you ain't been to Louisville, man. It's a special type of nigga there. Like, that's why Daddy kept telling people, that's I'm gonna move for the ministry. He said, no, don't do that. He said, because you ain't ready for the type of Negro you gonna deal with here. Don't think everybody in the Destin Ministries is sweet. There's people that's in Destin Ministries, Stephen Darby Ministries, that are some real niggas. Like, that's why Daddy didn't want them talking to the new people, because he said, nah, y'all gonna run my peoples off. He told so many brothers that, he said, nah, don't talk to these people. He said, nah, bro, because you gonna run them off, because people would do that. They would run them off. Like, nope. So yeah, you don't want to be around the common Negro. That's why Daddy did good in every other city. He couldn't do good in Louisville because they a special type of stupid. I came out here, bro. I was a special type of stupid too because I was around them. So that's why I said when I came out here, it took a lot to change my mindset, man. Like, that took a whole lot to change. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the hardest things I had to do, man, was change my mindset. It didn't cost no money, But it's not about a money or wealth thing. It's about a mentality thing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I took so hard. It's why it was so hard to think differently. Because 28 years living in that city was still influencing me. You know what I'm saying? Still influencing me when I came here. I was going back every 2 weeks, hanging with the homies. You know what I'm saying? Going out doing this, doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I said, nah, man, I hate the city. I don't live here no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I live here in San Antonio, so that's why I've been making the best of this city. Been doing a lot of stuff, been going a lot of places, making a lot of connections, people. You know what I'm saying? I was going through it hard at first, and then, like I said, until I met some woman. And then it made all my worries go away. I was like, yeah, this is a Mexican I was talking to, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro, she was cool, man. She was one of the best people I knew, man. She was cool. And so, I like that, man, because she actually made a lot of my troubles, not really like my troubles go away, but it really took my mind off a lot of what I was dealing with, you know what I'm saying? Because I was looking for that friends and, you know what I'm saying? I was making friends, but I just wasn't really like putting myself out there like that, you know? I was still kind of stressed out and, you know, I was a nigga. I was missing Louisville. You know something wrong. People was like, something wrong with you when I said it, like I should move back. They was like, are you okay? Are you a clone? Have you been like Hollywooded or something? They was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I ain't know what to think. That's what I said, when you mental, man, you say some stupid stuff. Like, I was like, well, maybe I should move back. I was like, why? Being around Negroes? I don't think so. I like it out here. Only 6% of the population. What's up, LB? How you doing? Hey. People in the Bible were definitely... Nah, people in the Bible was from Louisville, man. I told you. They ain't from Louisville. Like I said, how Moses was frustrated with them niggas, that's how Daddy was frustrated with these Negroes. They the descendants of all the dumb children of Israel that was stuck there for 45 years. Like, yep, that's them. I guarantee you, if you do a DNA trace, if you can do carbon dating way back, yeah, they was from Louisville. They didn't know modern day Louisvilleites. Like, man. That's why I said Louisville is a place where your dreams go to die. If Daddy would have kept the ministry in Louisville, his ministry would have died so fast, bro. He kept saying, he said, my ministry's not gonna grow in the city, man. He said, I need to go abroad. Because everybody there comment with you. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I was like, if I stay in this city, I was like, all my dreams and hopes is gonna die. And I'm getting married to some ugly tin can head Hebrew Israelite girl. That's gonna be it. And I'm gonna get one of these shotgun homes, and that's gonna be the end of my youth. That's gonna be a miserable couple of years. I remember hanging out, going out with the homies one day. I was like, this is what life is here? I was like, man, this is sad. I looked in the mirror. I was like, who are you? I was like, Steve, what happened to you? I said, I went from being a little Negro when I was younger to growing up, and I was getting around to white people, getting intelligent, and then I went right back to being a Negro. I said, how do you take a step back from forward? How do you take 5 steps back? Like, who ends up a Negro, turns and becomes intelligent, and ends right back a Negro? I said, Steve, if you don't stop, it's gonna be your life. And I was like, man, I gotta be better. So now I'm in between. I'm not white or black. I'm Mexican. I'm Mexican now. Like, Jesus, get off me. Get off. So she's sleeping in. What, you got a hard day at work or something? Nah, everybody like Antoinette, man. She's cool. That's just like those type of people. Get off. That's like those type of people that's just like, everybody cool, but it's like there's certain people that's like, they are just the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, they make everybody's day. Antoinette is always one of the type of people. It's like, she just can make anybody's day because she's so sweet. And so that's why I'm like, those are the people you definitely want to make sure don't nobody like run off. Like, don't nobody like offend and stuff. Like, there's just some women, you know, it's just like, some people, like, everybody cool. But there's just some women, it's just like, if anybody ever disrespects them, like, I would knock their head off their shoulders. Like, I would really knock them out. Because I know a couple of girls like that, like, they are so nice. It's like, all my other friends, they cool, but I said, but them, it's just like, if anybody ever because they so nice. It's like, if anybody ever disrespects you, I would, like, literally hurt them, you know what I'm saying? She's one of them type. Can't say the rest for you blacks, but I told you, she could change a white supremacist mind. He was like, you know, I never liked black girls, but you're different. Like, you just make me feel so special. Because, you know, deep down inside, some of them do have a fetish for black women. But they be trying to mask it. Be like, oh, yeah, they're a bunch of apes. Until they find the right one, they're going to be like, marry me. Marry me. It's like, nigga done changed this whole... Like, yeah. That's what happened. I seen that happen before, man. It's the guy that went on Steve Wilkos. And he was a former skin... He was in the Peckerwood gang, which is like a skinhead group. And so he has a biracial child. So he was teaching his kid, like, a lot of hate and stuff like that. And so Steve Wilkos told him, he was like, man, you can't be doing that, dude. He said, you got a kid. He's like, I know you come from prison. He said, but dude, you gotta think differently. And so he was like, he said, and Steve Wilkos, he made him get up. He said he brought all his black audience up there on the stage. He said, if you truly sorry, he said, tell each and every one of these black people sorry. And so he told them all sorry. You know what I'm saying? He came out, he was like, I never experienced a lot of black love like that. He said, the fact that y'all still love me, even though I wasn't kind to y'all, man. He was like, I started looking at how I was doing my daughter. You know, how I was treating my daughter and my girl, you know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, black woman made you change, didn't it? I said, yeah, black woman made you change, yeah. I said, yeah, she gave him something that the white girl couldn't give him. I was like, yep. I said, sadly, I can't be easily persuaded. I'm like, you're black, ew. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't date the dogs. I only date the Megan Fox. Speaking of Megan Fox, I would take a Megan Fox any day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can. You can change the white supremacists. Like I said, they just ain't being persuaded. The only reason they probably don't like a lot of black women is because the ugly ones be in their face. I realize the ugly ones is the ones, they ain't changing jack. But when they get them a nice, beautiful woman, especially if they have a southern accent, shoot, they gonna flip real quick. They gonna be like, well, I was into the Taylor Swifts, but now I want me a Beyonce. They're like, well, I never had one of you blacks before. You know, but like, you're my ebony queen, marry me. Shoot, I changed a lot of white girls' mind. Don't know how I did it, but I did. I know some white girls, they wouldn't even touch a black dude, but they was on me. They were scared to bring a black dude home, but they wasn't scared to bring me home. They haven't lost me good spirits, no, they haven't. I'm like, yeah, I got that changing mechanism. I can change your life. I can change your mind. That's why when it don't work out, they all end up crying. Every last one of them, bro, they all cry. I don't know why it is with they crying. They was like, I don't even cry when anything else happens. They said, but you just make me cry. I love you. And I just, And I was like, oh, I touched that little white heart of yours. I ain't talked to a white girl in a minute, but I'm about to be back on my white girl summer, so it's coming. It's coming, people. But nah, I wouldn't mind the caucasity. The audacity of the caucasity. Nah, it's funny. I was telling them the other day. I said I posted because 5 years ago, maybe when I got shot with the homies, and so I posted it. I always post it every year on my social media. So I posted it on my private story. Now keep in mind, this white girl you was talking to, that was when I first moved to San Antonio. And so I'm petty. Like I said, when I don't like you no more, I can't stand you. So I blocked her on everything. Like I ain't really block them. I just deleted them. You know what I'm saying? I blocked on Instagram and everything else, but I said Snapchat. I remember I just deleted it. I never blocked her. So I haven't seen her in 2 years. Haven't talked to her in 2 years. So I posted it on my public story. Your public story is something everybody else can see in the world can see. They can see that anywhere. So I happened to be scrolling through it, checking the stats and stuff. And then I seen her name because I kept seeing something pop up on my timeline. I'm like, who is this? And so I seen her name. I said, huh? I said, no, it ain't no girl. And then I clicked the profile because I was like, who is this? Because I'm like, I try to figure out who be watching me. And then I seen it was her. I was like, oh, she remembers me. I was like, I knew you couldn't stay gone for long. Oh, little white thing. I was like, yeah, she back for round 2. Boy, I tell you, that was the hardest 9 seconds of my life. I was like, should I send that message for like, hey, you send the hey with like 3 E's or 3 Y's and stuff. Like, hey, I was about to do that. I was about to be like, because we always talk about it. We was like, well, maybe, in the future. She was like, I just hope. That was the last time we talked on the phone. She said, I just hope one day we can have this. And she's like, maybe in another life. She's like, maybe in a couple of years. Like, just, I don't know what to think right now. She said, hopefully we can be Facebook friends or something. Because I know we both knew we couldn't really be friends because we was in love with each other. So it was like, it was going to make it hard and awkward to kind of like, talk. And so we kind of just went on ways. And so I said, well, it has been 2 years. I was like, oh no, like maybe this is the sign. I was like, it's the sign. I was like, oh no. I was so tempted to just be like, hey baby, I miss you. I miss your little lovely white behind. I was like, man. And I was like, I don't know. I was in a standstill. I said, what should I do? I was like, she still remembers me. I was like, maybe I should go back. I was like, no, Steve ain't no going back. But I was like, but she's different. She's white. What's up, Janelle? What's up, Zenobia? What's good with y'all, man? I'm just talking about my what do you call that? The stick in the mud or the stone or something? An analogy for a rock in the hard place, what it's called. I was at my rock in the hard place. I never thought it would be that hard, bro. I was like, oh, I still love you. I was like, I still miss you. from me, man. And I was like, man, I thought I was like, why is she still watching me? I said, because she misses me. I was like, I said, we back in there. I said, yeah, we back on that player rap, baby. Like, we back in there. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Because I thought about it too, and I thought, I was like, nah, man, like, because I kind of was trying to get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I first got into it, like, at first I was like, I still care about you. But then, like I said, when you get a little bitter or you get, like, mad, you like, man, I don't need you. And so I was kind of telling the lie and the truth at the same time. I was like, I don't want people like it around me, which I really didn't. But then I was like, I kind of do, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, well, eventually I'm not wanting to hold bad blood. I don't like bad blood, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, even if we used to be a thing, we ain't cool, like, I still say, hey, like, hey, what's up, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I don't have no hate in my heart towards people, you feel me? But I was like, I thought I was like cool with being cool with people again, because people come back all the time. And so I was like, I don't care about them people, I care about those people. And so I was like, with me and her having the thing, I was like, maybe we'll come back and say, hey, talk. And then I thought about it, and I was like, why though? I was like, what's, like, not that I'm mad or I'm angry, I'm just like, why though? What's the point? Like, it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's 2 years. Like, move on with your life. Like, I've been moved on. And I said, I realized I don't like old people coming back in my life. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I told myself, I said, homie, I'm good. You feel me? I'm like, I don't want that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I moved on, got new people. I'm established in San Antonio now. I'm like, I got the best people I got in my life. I'm gonna have some more good people come in my life. I like new stuff. I don't like old people. You feel me? So when you got a lot of old homies and people trying to come back, like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you back in my life. My life is good. My life is getting better by the second. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I just kind of, I don't really count it as a loss. I'm just like, it's over. Like, it's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to talk. We don't need to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kill you because you get nervous. Get off. Tag on bugs. But I was like, we don't really need to talk no more, man. I say nothing. Like, it's finished, But it was hard. I was like, oh, I was like, you're so pretty. She's very pretty, man. She had like the prettiest eyes, man. Like, I'm a sucker for pretty eyes. And so, I don't know. Her eyes was like real nice. She used to do like a lot of little mascara stuff. So like, she had like really pretty eyes and stuff. Don't do the dirty draws. Don't do that. Oh, no. Hey, there's a difference, okay? There's a difference between that. I can make an exception for some people. I was like, we never got into it. We never fought. I argued. I cussed each other out. I talked crazy. We never actually did it, bro. Even the last phone call, we had kind of, get away from me. We kind of got into it, but it wasn't like, fuck you. Got you. I told you I was going to get you. But like, we got into it, but not like that. We was kind of just like debating. And then, like I said, we was kind of getting a little smart aleck with each other. And then that's when I hit her with the, so what you want to do? I said, so then what you trying to say, man? What you want to do? I talked to her like that. She's like, I think maybe we should just like take a break or something, or maybe we should just stop. I said, no, my white girl, what's wrong with thee? I said, don't leave me. At first I was like, cool. I was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, no. I said, you don't let a white woman leave. I said, Steve, don't you get it? That was your woman to fight for. Because at first I thought fighting for women was simpish. I don't fight for women. I'm like, I don't do that stuff. Like, if you don't like me, you don't like me. I said, no, Steve, chase her. Run after her. Make her a priority. I was like, man. And then when I tried, I was like, well, maybe we can salvage it. Maybe we can try and stuff. And she was like, that's another one. She's like, I just made up my mind. I can't think right now. I was like, okay. I tried. And I was like, we was both like, hey, hopefully you found somebody that you love, somebody that you cool with, that you can get along with. But, we both wish each other the best. Like, we got to be with other people. And at the time, I'm like, okay, again, people are upset before I'm upset. She was crying before I was crying. And so, I was just like, well, we can talk about it. And she didn't want to talk about it. And that's when I remember I was pissed off, man. I was real pissed off because everything bad was happening after the next. I went through that first. And then after that, my money trouble started hitting. The jobs wouldn't call me back. My rent was coming up. Having car issues. I mean, just every bad thing was happening. I was like, man, that was the biggest test of my life. Oh, when I tell you, that's why I said, like, again, I've never drunk, man. I've never drunk or smoked in my life. But if it was ever a time where I would have, that would have been a time, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, if there was ever a time the devil was tempting me to do that, that was definitely the time, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I thought about it. I said, bro, like, I know now why people drown their stuff in that bottle, man. I know now. Because it's like, when you feel that, it's like you need something to cope with it. I ain't have nothing to cope with it. Like I said, some people can go out and drink and smoke. I had to sit there and deal with it. And sitting there and dealing with it is one of the hardest, worst things you can do. You got to sit there and just, that's it. I was sleeping all day. I was going back. I was taking like 2, 3 naps a day. You know what I'm saying? I was walking around in my drawers in the house. You know what I'm saying? House getting dirty. You know what I'm saying? I was trash everywhere. Like, bro, I was just not in the mood. I wasn't going nowhere. So I was like, it was depressing from sun up to sundown. That's all I did was watch TV and you know, just that was it. And that was a tough time in my life, man. That's why I said like I hated life at the time, bro. You feel me? That's why I said be careful what you wish for, man, because like you can get it all, man. You can definitely get it all. I was saying, man, I was just hoping to get out of Louisville. I was on the move, thinking that move was gonna kill my problems and my sorrow. And I said I got exactly what I wanted. I said, but in getting what I wanted, I said I wasn't prepared for it. And I said I realized that I truly wasn't happy. Even though that's what I wanted for over a decade was to move and go to another city. I said I realized that wasn't really it's what I wanted, but I said I was missing something, you know what I'm saying? That's why you see people hit the lottery, they become millionaires overnight, they get their Bitcoin money, and then they still depressed. They worse off than they was when they was broke. You know what I'm saying? I know a guy, man, he said he was broke living in the back of his car. He said he got sales jobs, started making so much money, started buying everything he wanted. He said I was in a darker place when I had money than when I was broke. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, like, sometimes when you want what you want, God will give it to you. But it'll become God to you. That's gonna be the only thing you get. And then when I realized, like, well, now you got what you needed and what you wanted, and now you can't even enjoy it because, you know, the goal was to get here. And I said, when you get here, then what? And then I got here, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know. It's like, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I said that definitely put a hindrance. Well, not a hindrance, but it definitely hurt a lot, you know what I'm saying? And that situation with me and her didn't make it no better, you know what I'm saying? And then I had a yellow, which I'm funny, I'm right behind a lid store. I can't find this hat nowhere in the world, dog. Only on Amazon. I still can't find it on Amazon no more. I had a yellow and black Pittsburgh Pirates hat. It was the only one of its kind, bro. And I remember I left it over her house one time. I left it over her crib. And so the day after me and her had called it off, we was on Snapchat talking we was snapping each other back and forth. And so she Snapchatted me. She was like, you know, hey, I was like, you okay from last night? She was like, yeah. She's like, I'm sorry, you know, about everything. And I told her, I said, I was on some simp stuff back then. I was like so borderline weird. I was like, oh, I said, it's okay. I said, it's okay, baby. I said, you'll always be my girl no matter what. I remember I said that. I said, you'll always be my girl no matter what. And then she texted me back, and she was laughing, and she was like, oh, thanks, baby. We was still calling each other baby and stuff. She's like, thanks, baby. She said, I don't ever want to stay away from you. I still love you. I'm always going to love you and stuff. And so it was good at first, and then I guess I was used to talking the way that we was, and we wasn't talking that way. And then I remember I started getting mad. I was like, ain't no more baby. I said, ain't no more baby. I said, you don't want to treat me like this? And I said, but do things have to be different? Because then we would like post on each other's stories, and we still be watching it. And then I would look at it, I was like, man, she's so pretty. And I'm just like, it's hard to be friends with somebody that's beautiful that you love, you know what I'm saying? And so then she was like, oh, I got your hat over here still. She said, look what you left over the house. I was like, oh, I didn't leave my hat. I said, well, when I come back, because I was going to come back in like a couple of days. I said, when I come back to Louisville, I said, I'll come and get it from you, you know what I'm saying? Then we'll go get food, chop it up like we usually do, you know what I'm saying? And within a couple of days, I don't know what happened, man. I went off. I was mental. I went off. I said, you nigger. I said, you white girl, Dave. I said, mama was right about you. I said, mama was right about your kind. I was like, dang. I said, girl, how you gonna trip? How you gonna forget? How you gonna act like that? I said, look what you did to my heart. You took it and just tore it into pieces. I was like, man, mama was right about you white girls. But nah, we tried to talk about it. And then I was like, well, let me come get my hat back, because we got into it. I said, well, let me come and get my hat back. And then she tried to play the I want to be distant stuff, like I can't see you because I'm scared. I was like, all right, then you know, I said, nigga, keep the hat and sell it. I said, how about that? You sell it to somebody else that, well, I don't even want it no more. And then I looked back on it, I said, dang, man, a lot of my memories is popping up with that yellow hat on. I said, dang, man, I want that hat back. That's the only thing of mine of yours that you got. Along with my heart. I was like, dang, man, I could have went better. But it was that's why I say it was a tough time, but it was a good time because it was something new in my life, you know what I'm saying? And so I started meeting people here and getting acquainted with what was here, you know what I'm saying? And so every time I went back to Louisville, man, I was like, I don't want to run into her. Like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a pretty small city where everybody knows each other. And so I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm feeling right now. I said, I don't want you to set me off, you know what I'm saying? Because look, once I get set off, man, I don't know what I'm capable of. I said, I was dealing with a lot of anger issues at that time, so I said, I don't want nobody setting me off, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I ain't no type of nigga that fight over women. I don't do that. But at that time, I was like, nah, you mine. I was like, nah, girl, you mine. So I said, if I would have seen it with somebody else, I would have beat her and dude up. Like, how could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. I was like, I would have been angry to call the charge, man. Like, I ain't gonna do that. But then I thought about it. I was like, man, it's done, bro. Let it just be. You know what I'm saying? Let it be. And so I was like, well, could be worse. He could be one of them dark Hebrew girls. I was like, oh man, like I ain't never let one of them make me feel like that. So. But yeah, man, like I said, it was tough. I ain't gonna lie, it was tough, man, coming out here, you know. But it took a minute to kind of get over stuff, man, because once I came out here, I was mental, man. When I came to San Antonio, my mental was way off. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know. Like I said, I was coming into a new land with new people. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of wish I would have came here with somebody, because at least I would have had a friendship group already established. So shortly after that, I did end up meeting this. I met this black girl, man, and so I ain't talked to her in a minute. She was cool. Me and her still cool, but we met off of Hinge. We was on Hinge, and so we met off of there, and so we went on a little date and whatever. And so she was like, hey, how do you feel about starting like a friendship group and stuff? She was like, she said, well, I'll get some of my friends together and then we'll all go like do stuff. And I was like, yeah. So shortly after that, she brought one of her friends out and we went to this little barbecue place. It's like, I forgot what it was, but they was having like some type of shoe event, like some type of Jordan event or something. And so she was like, yeah, this is the start of like a friendship group. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. So we went to that. And then we went to this place called, it's a place here called Little Woodrow's. And so it's like a not like a bar, but it's like a game place. Like they have like games and karaoke and stuff like that. And so they took me out and we had like a nice little time, man. And so we was playing like little skee ball and pool and you know what I'm saying? And I was starting to feel that friendship feeling there. I was like, that's good. That's nice, man. And so it's the funniest part. It's the funniest part of the story. I promise you this. So we all took one car. Like I said, we met up at the place. Then when we was going to the other place on the other side of town, we took one car. So I bring my gun with me everywhere. So it's Texas, you gotta bring your gun everywhere. So I left my gun in the car. So usually what I call my gun protection. So I told them, I was like, I said when we was going, and they was like, well, just ride with us. I said, okay. And I was talking about the gun, but I said, because I didn't know where we was going at. So I was like, well, do I need to bring this? And so I said, do I need to bring protection? I said, hey, well, do I need to go bring my protection or something? And then so her friend looked at me and then she looked at her and she was like, and she started smiling. She said, that's between y'all. Y'all might want to talk. And I said, no. I started laughing. I said, no, that ain't how I meant it. I said, no, that ain't how I meant it. I meant I meant the gun. That's what I meant. And so we started laughing. She said, she was like, she's like, hey, whatever. She said, if you want to bring protection, I was like, no, that's not how I meant it. I meant like the gun. That's what I meant. I call my gun protection. That's what I call it. But it sounded like magnums or something. Like I was like, do I need to bring magnums? I was like, nah, nigga, I'm talking about the gun. And so we ended up going to that place, man, and we had a nice little time. You know what I'm saying? And so I was starting to feel a lot of that friendship out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Then the people I know here, they was, having little events. They was inviting me out and stuff like that. You feel me? And over time, man, it was starting to become a little familiar. And then I was, hanging with people that I work with, having fun times and all that, going out, doing this and that, and then, it would come and go. Like I said, I was feeling a little mental, you know what I'm saying? It would come and go. And then I was like, I didn't really want to just meet somebody again right away, man, because I was like, I'm still in love. I said, that white girl did something to my heart, man. I was like, she did something to me. I was like, I always thought about what Daddy would say, like, nigga, if you don't get up and do something like that, what's wrong with you? That white girl did something to my heart, man. But it wasn't even that. It was just like, I didn't want to just do meaningless relationships, man. I don't like that stuff. So me and her talked, man. And can y'all still hear me? Because I don't know if this phone messed up. Let me know if y'all can still hear me, y'all. So, I don't know. Yeah, y'all can still hear me. Okay, I was making sure. Yeah, I was, it was funny how it happened because I said, do we need to bring protection? I really meant the gun, bro. I didn't know how I said it. Because I looked at them, I said, oh, well, do I need to bring protection? That's the way her friend looked. Her friend looked at me, and then she looked at her friend. She started smiling, and she was like, she see that look. She said, well, you might want to talk to her about that. I was like, no, and I was like, why you look like that? And I said, no, and I started laughing. I said, no, that ain't how I meant that. I said, I meant the, and then she like, yeah, I said, no, I said, that's not how I meant it. I said, I am a Christian boy from the legacies of Pastor Darby. I don't know anything about that, okay? You know, at mom and daddy's house, that was forbidden. Mom and daddy ain't play none of that. So they say, if y'all gonna do it out there. They said, but don't you do it in our house. You know what I'm saying? I said, even if I wanted to, you think I would bring them here? I said, man, knowing mom and daddy, man, it was the worst people to be able to bring anybody around. I was like, boy, mama, especially if she was white, man. Mama did not like it at the time. She'd be like, who's this little white girl? Mama would give me that look. She'd be like, hey. And then she'd be like, she'd look at you and like, I said, mama, don't do that. I said, mama, white girls can be queens too, okay? It's not just black women. Don't do that. And so even my white friend I was with one day, and I went back in town last year for Thanksgiving. And she ain't from Louisville, she's from Michigan. And so she ain't have her family come down that year. And then my homeboy's from Florida, he ain't have his family come down that year. And so I was like, well, mama, can I bring him over for Thanksgiving since we having it here? She was like, yeah. And so my friend, she works at the Sephora. And so she was like, well, I didn't want to come empty-handed, because she was also like, well, what if your mama don't like me? I was like, I mean, mama's cool now. I said, at first, mama wasn't cool. I said, man, mama's cool. And so I was like, I said, you can bring whatever you want. I said, mama ain't tripping like that. She love everybody. And so she brought mama. It was actually something mama was looking for. So I introduced her to mama. She was like, hey. She was like, well, I didn't want to come empty-handed. So she's like, I brought you this. It was like some type of, I don't think it was Victoria's Secret. It was like some type of perfume. It was something that mama was looking for. And I think it was Chanel. And so mama was looking for that type, but she couldn't find it. And so she was like, well, I wanted to bring you this, just a gift. And so mama was like, okay, what's this? So she looked in it. And she said, I was looking for this. She's like, I couldn't find this nowhere. And she was like, well, yeah, I just wanted to bring it to you. And so mama, she said, come here, girl. So she gave her a hug. I was like, oh, yeah. I said, hey, girl, you welcome to the cookhouse now. I said, mama like you welcome to the cookout. But no, anyways, back what I was saying, I said, man, I kind of, being here, it took a minute, man, to kind of get familiar. And I was still kind of on that, going back to Louisville every now and then. And, what I'm saying, I was still friends with people that me and her, because I met her through one of my friends, you know what I'm saying? And so me and her was still friends and stuff. And so they would ask me all the time, like, how y'all doing? I'm just like, yeah. Like, they still follow me. So they'd be like, hey, how's it going? Like, how are you and what's the name? I'm just like, man, it's whatever. I don't even want to talk about it. And so, and then we all kind of just went on separate ways, you know what I'm saying? And then shortly after that, like and then like me and the, like I said, the girl I met here, like, we were still cool. So we would just like hang out and just like, she had a birthday party. So she was like, hey, come through, you know what I'm saying? So I was getting acquainted with more people and meeting more people and stuff like that. And then we just all started chopping it up, man. And then, like I said, I was hanging with some of the homies here, you know what I'm saying? And that's when they told us about going. My homie lived right across the street from that place we go to, this little tango place, the little dancing place. And so he was like, hey, man, we need to go there one night. I was like, all right, cool, And so we ended up going one night, man. It was cool, man. We had so much fun, bro. And then it just became a regular, you know what I'm saying? And so I was starting to really get acquainted here, you know what I'm saying? And then shortly after that, I ended up meeting somebody. I met this little Mexican I was talking to out here. Like, me and her started chopping it up. Her name was Sarah. I remember it was Sarah. If you ever seen the Boondocks, Tom White, the white girl, her name was Sarah. And so he sang that song. He was like, he said, that's something I like to see. He said, Sarah, smile. So I sent her that clip. I said, every time I hear your name, I said, this is what it reminded me of. I said, oh, won't you smile a while for me, Sarah? So I was singing to her like in real life. Oh, that one song that's like, Sarah, Sarah. Like, I was start singing that song. And so like, me and her got acquainted for a little bit, man. And that really did change a lot of my mindset, man. Like, I wasn't really dealing with a lot of mental around that time. I was starting to deal with my life, you know what I'm saying? And so that did change a lot of like my perspective on stuff. And there was a nice little relationship for a little bit while it lasted, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, again, it didn't last or whatever. But my mind was already kind of changing, you know what I'm saying? So I was doing a lot better than what I was. But I'm telling you, man, when I came out to San Antonio, man, I went through a hard, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I went through a hard out here, man. You know what I'm saying? I said, this is something that I always wanted, man, to move far away from home. And then I'm like, I got it. And then it's like, did I really want this? So I said, was I just mental at the time, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, no, I did want this, but I just didn't come out here prepared. I'm getting tired of these mosquitoes, man. Keep biting me. Get off me. But I swear, I was like, bro, that really did a number on me, man. That if it was ever a time I was mental, boy, that was definitely the time, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I said it takes a minute, man, to kind of deal with your mental. You feel me? Like, so, hold on. So yeah, that's why I said now I'm acquainted in San Antonio now. Like, it's cool out here now, but at the time I'm just like, man, it was like the worst. You know what I'm saying? Because at least if it was raining, if it was cold, you know what I'm saying? Like that would fit the sentence. It's like, okay, well, it's already sad outside, but it was like hot and it was sunny here. It was beautiful, so it made it worse because I was staying in the house all day. And I'm like, bro, I'm so depressed, man. Like it was stressful. You feel me? Like, and so I wasn't going to church at the time here, so I was watching the online ministry from back home. You feel me? And so it wasn't really many places I was going to except like the stove, and then I would try to make myself kind of go out to like Riverwalk or like go somewhere outside or whatever. And then I realized I was like, bro, this is just sad. That's why I was waiting to work, because I said when I start working, you'll meet people, you'll get friends and all that, you know what I'm saying? And then when I started working, I started meet people, becoming friends with some of the homies that I'm still cool with now, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, it was so um, depressing at that time, man. That's why I said, like, I look back at it now. I like to look back at stuff now. I was like, that was funny because I felt that way, but I was like, it was really tough at the time, bro. I thought I was never gonna get over it. I ain't gonna lie, man. I thought I was never gonna get out of the slump I was in, bro. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was always gonna be bad, and you don't feel like that because you mental. When you mental, you think that's gonna last forever. It's like, no, it's just like that for the moment, man. That's why I tell people, if you're going through a breakup, man, or you're going through a bad relationship, just know it don't last forever, man. That's only like temporary. You feel me? Like, you're gonna find somebody else that's better. Because I mean, believe me, the white girl I was with, man, I ain't gonna lie, we have the best connection, bro. I was like, I ain't gonna never find anybody like you again. You know, you say some dumb stuff when you're in love. And I was like, I'm never gonna find anybody I'm in love with like that again. I was like, yes, you will. You're gonna find somebody. And then when you get with somebody, you don't even remember them like that no more. You know what I'm saying? You know, and now I'm just like, that's old news. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was saying, I'm like, I ain't got no bad blood with people. And I'm like, I ain't going back to that, man. I don't want to run into people I used to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still like, hey, what's up? But, you know, it's over. Like, I don't, you know, I ain't trying to rekindle nothing. I don't want no exes back, man. That's why I use that analogy. It's like putting on the same pair of dirty underwear. If you go back with somebody that you used to be with, like, I don't know how people do it, man. Like, you might be able to get back with ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. I'm like, if that's me, I'm done. Like, ain't no, because I know you're going to do it again. Ain't no need in trying to get back to each other, girl. I'm done. So, yeah, man, a lot changed out this way, man. A lot changed in my mind. That's why I'm a lot different now. You feel me? Like, I'm still working on me. That's why I said I'm just now kind of adapting to San Antonio like that, man. It took the longest, bro, because, you know, it took a minute for me to deal with my mental and to deal with life. You feel me? So this is 2 years now. This is like 30 months of being out here in San Antonio. So it took the longest, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a better state now, but I'm not, of course, I'm not where I want to be at exactly. Like, I want to be way further. What's up, dog? Like, I want to be way further than where I was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still working on that every day, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said there's some big, beautiful things that's about to happen. And they've been happening lately. So I'm just going to keep looking forward to that. But oh, look at this. We got the H&M. This is the part I never really come down, man. I never come down this way. Got the Vans. They got Zara, Ray-Bans. I never come to these stores down here, man. Look, that's how I be dressing, bro. When I had my other job, I was working corporate. I said, yeah, Steve was looking like a white man. Look at that. That looks so nice right now. Look at them. They got that water down there. That looks so nice out there, boy. Look at that. They got the waters up top. So yeah, man. You know how that goes. So yeah, man. You know, been out here just trying to work on my life, man. Work on my mental and everything, man. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to do any of that, bro. For real. That's why I said, like, bro, stuff is, you know, stuff is definitely better than what it once was, man. That's what I will say, like, bro, like, you don't understand, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I said, bro, just because you move, and that's what Daddy was trying to tell me, man. Daddy told me that growing up. He said, son, he said, just because you go somewhere else and you run from your problems and you think because you get a wife or you get into some relationship, he said, son, that don't change your life. He said that you will still be the same person just with more baggage. You know what I'm saying? He kept saying, he said, son, if you don't deal with your issues, he was like, you still gonna be the same type Negro. He said, yo, you need to deal with your life. I didn't know what he meant by that. And I thought, well, if I just move out of Louisville, everything would be better. And it's like, okay, some things are better, but not everything. I said, you still got life. And I said, all my problems from Louisville follow me here. And some. And I said, if I would have went back to Louisville, all my problems from here would have followed me back to Louisville and some. You feel me? And so that's why I was saying, I was like, bro, that's why it's so important to deal with your life, man. Deal with your mental. So you don't, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you could change the location. Like I said, you could take the hood, you could take the nigga out the hood, you can't take the hood out the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't change your life, man, you're just going to bring your problems with you. That's why you get in another relationship and end up the same way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not them, it's you. You won't deal with your life. You feel me? And that's why I said, that's why it's so important, man, to deal with your mental, man, because when you don't, this is the stuff that you do. And it took a minute, man. Yeah, same. New location, same nigga. That's what it was, man. That's why I said it took a long time, man, to kind of deal with that. That's why I said when I was in Louisville, I used to not care, man. I told you, Steve was never single, bro. I was never single, man. I always had somebody. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was like in Louisville, you don't care about nothing. You like, all right, well, we ain't talking no more. I'm gonna get somebody else. Like, I ain't, cause you don't care. You ain't living for nothing. So you like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But when I came out here, I said I knew what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I said you can't run the mom and them house up there, up the street. You feel me? You can't, you can't run over homeboy and them house up the street. You feel me? I said you out here by yourself. I said your closest relative is your brother, and he like 4 hours away. I said so, you out here by yourself. I said, bro, we by Mexico. I said that's how far you are from everything, bro. We basically Mexico, dog. So that's why I was saying, I was like, bro, that's why it's important to deal with your mental, man, your life, all of that, dog. You know what I'm saying? And so I was starting to think, I said, man, this is the worst decision I've ever made. I said, no, it's not. It's just, I wish I would have prepared differently. I wish I would have, you know, met people here first a lot more before I moved here and got more acquainted. I was just so busy trying to move. And I said, then when you move and you just like, okay, then what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a job lined up here. I didn't have a lot of people I knew here. You know what I'm saying? I was just kind of just, you know what I'm saying, out and about. And it's like, nah, man, you got to do stuff better. So that's why I tell people, if you move from your hometown, either bring a couple of people with you or know a lot of people there before you do. So that way you won't feel homesick. You know what I'm saying? I said, I could have used some good friends around that time. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I could have used some good people in my life around that time that would have made me feel good. The church I'm at now and the people I know now, they would have definitely came and played, man, if I would have knew them when I first moved here. Because, man, when I came here, bro, I was so depressed, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. When I got into it, and then, any breakup sucks. So that, I said, bro, I was so depressed. I was going through it. You know what I'm saying? I told you, once again, I said I've never drunk alcohol in my life. I never smoked in my life. I said if it was ever a time I would have did that, that would have been the time, dude. I literally thought about it. I said, bro, I was like, again, that's why I said we ain't gonna play like we all better than everybody. We ain't gonna play like we ain't never got low before, man. I hate that stuff. Niggas coming with this whole religious stuff like they ain't never had thoughts. Man, everybody had thoughts of doing some of the craziest stuff. I said I ain't better than nobody just because I'm a pastor. Son, man, please, I'm a human being like everybody else. And I said, bro, sometimes you have thoughts just like, man, like I want to just go get a drink. I said, bro, I live right across the street from all them bars. I live right across the street from everything over there, bro. It was literally a strip club right across the street from my house. I could have literally went there. And I kept saying, I said, bro, I just need to go somewhere. I need to go get a drink. I need to go, like, I kept thinking that. I said, bro, I was about to do stuff I never did before. All because I was dealing with a lot of stress, man. I was dealing with a whole lot, you feel me? And that's why I said, when you don't deal with life, man, that's the stuff that you do. I wasn't ready how hard life was going to hit me like a sledgehammer, you feel me? So that's why I said, I ain't going to play like I was just, oh, well, I just stayed in the house and read the word. Like, nah, man, I was battling stuff, dog. I was really going through it. I think people be too scared to say that, man. They be scared of what people think. I don't care what no nigga think. When you in them shoes and you go through what I went through, I said, then you understand why you in them situations like that, bro. You understand why you like it. That stuff was not easy, man. That stuff sucked. That's why I said, like, bro, that's why I said, everybody got a story to tell, man. Tell your story. Don't care what people say. Don't care what people think about your situation. So what? Negro stuff they told ready to go telling everybody. So like, don't listen to Negroes, man. Everybody go through stuff, man. Ain't nobody judging nobody for what they went through. Like, bro, that stuff is hard. That's really hard, bro. That's why I said we all say something. I said that's what come from running my mouth. I was always running my mouth over people like, well, see, they stupid because they drink, man. They stupid because they vaping all day and they smoking weed and they doing drugs. And I said, now I know why they doing it. Not saying it's right, but I said I know now why people feel that way. See, when you get in them situations and you go through them shoes, then you start to realize, like, see, I shouldn't be talking. I should not be running my mouth. Because then when you look and you like, man, maybe I need to go get a drink, man. Maybe I need to go get a blunt. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said, like, bro, sometimes that's why I said God will humble you real quick, man, when you run that mouth. So that's when I stopped running my mouth about that type of stuff. I almost put on the robe and went out there with the Hebrew Israelites. That's how lonely I was. I was looking for any daggone affection. I said, anybody, any friend group, anybody. I don't care. Like, I'll go to the hood, hang with them. Like, bro, anybody just show me some love. I was like, Steve would have been a Hebrew Israelite boy had I not met the white people. Yeah, man, that's why I said it was so tough, man. But again, it was tough, man, because I didn't mentally prepare myself. I spent the whole year working to get here. And then when I got here, man, I realized I'm like, it's not exactly it's what I wanted, but it wasn't something I was prepared for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I would have definitely came a lot more prepared, you feel me? Like, I wish they was open, but I would have got a piece of that cake. Boy, that cake is so good. That rainbow cake, that cake is so good, man, for real. But yeah, that's why I said, like, bro, this stuff ain't no joke, man. Stuff is real. And so that's why I said when I went through it, man, I went through it hard, dog. Like, it was so bad. That's why I said, like, I wish you could understand how bad I'm talking. Like, think about some of your worst moments in your life And think about how it was, bro. Like how it was for you. That's how it was for me. Like, bro, it was bad. Like, oh my gosh, bro. And I think back on it now, and I'm just like, it's funny. Because I'm just like, okay, well, you laugh at your old stuff. But I said within the time, man, it wasn't nothing funny to me, man. I was going through it. Yeah, bro. Like, it was tough. And then I would go back to Louisville every 2 weeks, and that's what was making it worse, man. I was always going back home, and I was still living there in my mind. I was like, no, you live here. You got to start acting like you live here, dude. You feel me? And so that's why I stopped going back as much, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, if you don't change, man, you're going to keep being the same way. You know what I'm saying? I said, you need to get up off old girl, get up off a relationship. I know it sucks, but I'm like, it's done. Like, bro, we grown. We past this. You feel me? And I kept saying I knew I came to San Antonio to do something. I kept seeing myself do YouTube. I kept seeing myself do music. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do and when I was going to do it. But I kept saying, I was like, I came here for a reason, bro. You feel me? And now I'm starting to see the reason of why I came here. Everything is literally planned out now. You feel me? It took a little time. But I said, but look at it now. Look at how it's working. It's literally coming along. You feel me? Hold on. So, yeah, man, I ain't going to lie to you, man. That was tough, bro. I went through it hard, man. You know what I'm saying? But as time goes on, that's why I said as time goes on, I learn. You lose, you win some, you lose some. You got people that's in your life that's cool, and then you got some people in your life that just ain't nothing. You feel me? And so especially when I was here, I was like, well, nah, like I love everybody here. You know what I'm saying? I want to be cool with everybody. And I'm like, you don't need to be cool with everybody. Some people are gonna stay in, and some people just gonna leave, and that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I like the girl I got with afterwards, because like I said, she brought a lot of that together, man. She really did. Like, me and her was like real cool. We vibed together a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that took my mind off of a lot of what I was dealing with. It's like life was literally coming up at that time. Like everything was starting to fall into play, man. I was starting to deal with my mental, all of that. So things was a whole lot better than it was at the time. And so, you know what I'm saying? We had a little thing going on, you feel me? And I was like, okay, I'm acquainted here. I was like, you acquainted here. I ain't trying to go back to Louisville. I'm like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And then, around Christmas time, like I said, we had got into it. And so it sucks, but I'm like, it don't mean that it's the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I think some people are just here to push you further than where you've been. And that did. And right after me and her stopped, that's when I started doing my YouTube channel with the music. And then I started doing a lot of my music, you feel me? And then after that, I got with somebody, and you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I kept realizing, I said, you run into relationships trying to heal yourself with somebody else. I said, it's good to be with somebody, but I said, but I said, I feel like I was rebounding people. You feel me? Like, you only rebounding them because of such and such, because again, I was never single. So I'm like, you just keep jumping from people to people. Like, don't do that. And I said, be by yourself. And this is the longest I've been by myself, man. A whole year just working. And look at how much I got done. I got a whole lot done. It ain't even been a year yet, dog. Like, it's been, you feel me? And that's why I said, like, sometimes, people are meant to push you and better you. And that's why I said, like, that pushed me into doing a lot of my YouTube, man. Pushed me to doing a lot of my music and content, and you feel me, all the type of stuff I've been thinking about, business, all that, you feel me? That's hot out here. Ain't even in the sun. So yeah, man, I'm like, that's just how a lot of that goes, man. You feel me? But it was definitely tough, man. You feel me? But it's the journey, man. That's the part of the journey. It's like, it's not always beautiful. You feel me? It's not always the best. Like, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, man. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of bad days. I had more bad days than I had good days. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I had days that I was full of energy, and I had days I didn't even want to get out the bed, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna cap, bro. Like I said, usually when it's bedtime, I'm like, I sleep good. Steven nigga, I go to sleep no matter what going on. I said, but when you wake up, you like, bro, you're heavy, you're stressed. You don't want to, you don't want to get out of bed. You feel me? You just want to sit there and watch TV. You laying in your drawers all day, like, nah, man. I'm like, bro, put some. And I told myself, start putting clothes on, even though I wasn't going nowhere. I was like, you ain't got to be a nigga around the house. Like, bro, put some pants on. Like, make yourself look presentable. I literally was doing that. I said, bro, put some pants on. Make yourself look presentable, dude. You feel me? I said, because you changing your mind. Even though I wasn't going nowhere, I was telling my mind, like, no, I'm going to still get dressed. I'm going to act like I'm going somewhere to fix my life. Because I was getting dressed, putting my shoes on, putting my shirt on, putting my pants on, you feel me? Put my hat on, jewelry on, all of that. I was like, I'm going to make myself feel like I got something going on for me, even though I didn't at the time. Because I'm like, if you keep living this way, I said, it's going to be very hard to do anything, dude. Oh, look at this. Again, we back again. This is so pretty out here, man. This is beautiful. That's why I said, we ain't got none of this in Louisville. We ain't got no Louis Vuitton store, man. We ain't got no Toomey or no Louis Vuitton. We ain't got none of that, dog. You feel me? And that's why I said I came out here for a reason. That water looks so good. I want to jump in there right now. Like, but I was like, I knew I came out here for a reason, man. You feel me? And look how beautiful it is, bro. Look how beautiful it is. Like, it's, you feel me? And I'm like, I live up the street from this. So I can come out here every day if I want to, bro. Literally every day. Oh, look at that. Sun out. This is how Vegas look, bro. If you ever go to Vegas, it's literally how Vegas looks, dog. Like, it's beautiful. Florida, too. It's like the best of Florida and Vegas. Got the Neiman, what's it called? Neiman Marcus? Neiman Marcus stuff. I never come over here. I'm going to sit out here with y'all, man. And that's why I said, I'm like, bro, like, when you go through stuff, man, that's why I said, like, it's okay to be low sometimes, man. That's why I said, I think a lot of times we deal with pride, man, especially as Christian. We don't want to tell nobody, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know, for years, people, you know, I was like, well, people know who Daddy is, and they know who the ministry is. I'm like, so? And I was like, so? People was like, well, do you think that it's okay for Christians to go to therapy? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. Why y'all, I said, and then you realize the people that talk niggas. Why would you listen to a nigga? A nigga don't know nothing. They think they know Christ. They think they know everybody. Like, don't listen to them. They be like, well, they gonna think less of you. They are, you don't know why they think less of you, because they are less than. They a bunch of apes. I don't listen to apes, dude. I listen to human beings. You got mental issues, man. Go to a doctor. Go to somebody, man. Go talk to your friends. There's nothing wrong with going to join a therapy group. That's what I did. Because I was like, bro, I'm feeling a lot of stuff. I'm feeling a lot of anger, a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to fit in here. Like, I'm you know, I'm still new to this. You feel me? Hold on. Crack my back. But I was like, bro, you can go to therapy. You can go places. You feel me? Like, because we was taught that therapy is, you know, that's for, you know, white people. That's for, you know, people that ain't saved. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. If you mental going through life, man, go deal with your life, man. People get so daggone spiritual, man, they forget, like, you still a human being, bro. You can be as spiritual as you want to be. If you put your hand in the oven, you're going to burn your hand. It's not going to stop you from getting burnt, dog. You're not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You're not them. So, again, you a human being, dog, that lives by normal human. There's the law of spirituality, and there's the law of gravity. Like, there are a lot of things, bro, that you just have to deal with as a human. You feel me? There's nothing wrong with going and talking to somebody about your mental state. If it saves your life, it saves your life. What are people so prideful for, man? Like, nowadays we got people too scared to say, like, I ain't scared to admit that. I went to a therapy session with a bunch of other people like me who also lost their fathers, who also lost a loved one that they missed, who also got shot, who also was in combat, people that's came from the hood like we did. Like, bro, I went to therapy with people that was just like me. Talking about people that watch people die in front of their face. I said, well, I know what that's like, homie. I know what that's like. Stuff happened to people. I said, well, I thought I was the only one. I said, you get around people just like that. It's a form of identifying. And all people did was turn church into their therapy, but they think they too prideful to go to an actual therapist to talk. I said, dude, who cares? If it saves your life, man, it saves your life. If you're going through it mentally, man, why would you go through it mentally for 20 years? And then we wonder why people are snapping, doing some of the most outrageous crimes we've ever seen. Because they don't talk, man. They talk to just shut up and just, especially men, talk to shut up and just, well, you Christian, so? When you watch Pastor Darby, so? You still a person. Pastor Darby realized he was still a human too, and he had to be like, okay, whatever stuff that he had to deal with as well. Just because you a pastor and you Christian don't mean that you ain't gonna go through nothing, man. If anything, you go through more. It's okay to talk to people, man. What's wrong with folk? Niggas must get too spiritual and get indignant, man, like they just better than everybody. Like, man, you ain't better than people. I told everybody, man, go talk to somebody if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. It saved your life, man. I said, bro, I wish I would have had somebody to talk to when I came out here. It would have saved me a lot of mental trauma. That's why I said we all get low, man. I'm not going to pretend like I don't get low. Like, I ain't never been there before. Like, man, please. Some of us are just a little deeper than others, but I said, well, we all get there. And I said, alcoholism runs heavy through my family. Daddy's side of the family was alcoholics. Mama's side of the family was alcoholics. Daddy was a heavy drinker when he was in the world. Mama was a heavy drinker when she was in the world. And I told myself, I said, if you go down this road, Steve, I said, you're going to open that door up that Daddy closed. Not that I was like not that I ever drunk, but I was thinking about, I said, man, I know why people drink. And I said, man, a sip show sound lovely right now. And I said, if you open up this door, I said, you're going to open up the same thing that Daddy broke off of your life, off of you and your sister, your brother, your other sister. I said, you opening up another generational curse, man. And I told people, I said, I knew if I would have did it, I said, my house was already dirty because I wasn't cleaning up. I was already depressed and stressed. I said, I knew I would have drowned myself in the 40, man. I would have literally drowned myself in that bottle. And I would have never dealt with my problems. And I would have ended up, I would have hated myself for scooping to that level. You feel me? I would have really hated myself because I'm like, I was 28 at the time. I said 28 years of a clean record, no drinking, no smoking, and you would have messed it up with this. So when you do it, it's like, well, I'm already doing it. I might as well go max out. I waited 28 years. I don't need to be holding back now. It's like, see, and then you would have gave yourself a gateway to go deeper. And then you would have been a pisshead. You know what I'm saying? Then you would have had another problem on top of your other problems. You feel me? And that's why I told people, I said, bro, that's life, man. We all deal with that. It's about how you handle it is the issue. Hold on. That's what I said. Like, bro, I thought about it. I said, bro, you could have been a pisshead, bro. You could have really went through that. Hold on. Face this way. I like this way better. I said, you could have been a pisshead, man, going through that type of stuff. I said, but again, I love God, man. I trust God. And I said, God, you're going to have to do something to get me out of this situation. I said, I don't know exactly what to do. I don't know exactly what you're going to do. But I said, you got to do something, man, to get me out of this situation. Because this is crazy. It's killing me. You know what I'm saying? It's like dying slowly on the inside. You feel me? It's like, nah, man, I gotta do something about this. And that let me know. I said, you've been running from life, man. I said, you was in Louisville, wasn't doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? You ain't care about nothing. I said, you come out here and you still the same way. And I said, nah, you got to kill that mindset. You got to kill that worthlessness and that unworthy and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to stop doing that. Shortly after that, I was like, well, I need to get, because I knew. I was like, well, I don't want to go clubbing. I want to go to church. And so I was like, I didn't know. I'm very leery about churches. I don't like stepping in every church. And so I was actually set up across the street doing music. And there was a church right over there. And somebody was like, hey, man, come over to our church one day. They was like, you play so good. They was like, I can tell you do gospel and stuff. I said, yeah. And so they said, come over to our church, man, one day. And I was going to go, and I was like, well, it's a little further where I was making up excuses. Well, it's a little further where I live from. And I don't know. I'm like, I'm Destined Ministries all the way. And it's like, you can still go to a church and still be Destined Ministries. And so now when I go to church, our church service is early, pretty early. So by the time that we out, as soon as we get out, that's when Destined Ministry starts. So I get to watch online too. So I get to be part of 2 services. So I said, well, there you go right there. Like, you don't have to, it's not betraying a ministry because you go to another one. That's what I was thinking. Like, well, nah, I don't want to be disrespectful. It's like, it's not being disrespectful. You live in another city, you idiot. Like, you got to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said, like, I've been reflecting on my life a lot, man, when it comes to that. Because, again, this is 2 years. It literally just made it 2 years ago, a couple of weeks ago. I think, like, last week or 2 weeks ago, it made it 2 years. And so I'm looking at myself, and I said, I remember where I was around this time, man. I remember what it was like. I thought it was all fun and games, man, until you really go through it out here. And you realize, like, man, this is not easy, bro. Really not. But that's why I say, if you're dealing with problems, man, I'm trying to tell you, like, it do get better. I thought it was cliche at the time, man. That's why I said, you going through it, but I put on every Pastor Darby message I seen. I said, boy, every Pastor Darby message, nigga. Every daddy message, I said, nah, maybe there's something in the word. I said, maybe there's something in the word I'm missing. I was like, I gotta put this on. And so I would tune in and that's when I started watching Daddy a lot, because I used to never watch online because I ain't got to. I was there. So I was like, I don't care, you know, it's whatever. But then he kept popping up on my timeline. Daddy's messages kept popping up on my timeline. I'm like, why does this keep popping up? I was like, I don't even watch Stephen Darby Ministries. I was there. I'm his son. I don't need to watch it. But I was like, well, let me see what he's talking about. And so I was in the airport. I was in the Denver airport, dude. The morning, and I was in the San Antonio airport, and I was watching his messages. And so I was watching one. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to watch this one. And then after that one, I said, well, this was good. I'm going to watch the next one. I started watching the next one. I said, well, let me watch this one. And I said, I know now why people binge watch Daddy's messages. They are so good. And I said, I was there, but it's like watching it the second time. And I was like, man, I need to watch this one. I said, I need to watch this one. So I was in Denver, man. I was on the subway train in Denver, the little air train that take you to the different shuttles. And I remember it was the Nephilim message. That's what it was, the Nephilim message. Had nothing to do with what I was dealing with. Had nothing to do with nothing I was going through. Nothing at all. Nothing. That's why I love Daddy's message. It ain't had nothing to do with what I was talking about. Nothing at all. And literally the end of the message, dude, I'm in a subway train. The end of the message, the man literally said, he said, man, this is why God, bro, it was the last words. He said, this is why God is putting you through what he's putting you through. And everybody in the background, yeah. He said, God is putting you through this because he knows you can take it. You a soldier. Message cut off. Oh my God, bro. I had my headphones in. I almost threw the phone. I literally almost threw the phone. I said, how did he know? I said, bro, this message ain't even had nothing to do with what I was dealing with. It had nothing to do with what I was going through at all. I thought I was just watching for entertainment. And I said, how did he know what I was dealing with? And I literally told myself, I said, bro, even in death, Daddy's still helping me, man. I said, even though he ain't here, he's still influencing you. And then it made sense to why people keep talking about Darby Ministries, why they keep saying they binge watch Daddy messages. Because you be on a message that ain't got nothing to do with what you're dealing with. Until you turn on the word and what he's talking about, and it literally hit you where you is, dude. That's when I realized I got hit where I was, man. It was like, it was something out of a movie. It was like, it was the last word, I promise you, it was the last words of the video, and it cut off. I said, this is like movie timing, bro. I can't even explain that. Hold on. It was crazy. I said, bro, this is like something, like, it's not for a TV show, you feel me? I was like, bro, I ain't never, hold on, let me see. What's up, y'all? Let me see, hold on. Churches are preaching and real message. Well, that's what I said. The church I go to here, again, now, keep in mind, everybody's not a Pastor Darby. And that's fine. You don't have to be him. But I can tell the spirit, the same spirit that this man that I'm under at this church, he got the same spirit that Daddy had. Again, when I see the man, like I said, you know how Daddy was. Daddy preached, Pastor Darby preached a lot of good messages, man. It's the way he delivered it, because Daddy was a real man, so it's the way he delivered it. But I said, but when you operate in, Daddy walked out of the Spirit of God. So when you operate out of the Spirit of God, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman or whatever. It's just maybe delivered differently because of your personality. I said, but the way that this guy that preaches, he's the same as Daddy. Now, does he preach the way that Daddy does? No. But he's very passionate when he preaches. He's saying the same thing Daddy's saying. He has the same type. He's like, I want to help the young people. I've been working with the young people for 20 years. I said, Daddy been working with the young people for 20 years. I've been reaching the hood for 20 years. Daddy been reaching the hood for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? He said, I just care about righteousness. I care about God. I said, well, Daddy cared about righteousness and cared about God. He was like, I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I said, Daddy made you not feel comfortable. I said, this is the same spirit that he's serving out of that Pastor Darby had. Now, of course, he's not a Pastor Darby. And of course, the word ain't like that, like Pastor Darby's was. But because he has the same, because he loves God and has the same spirit, I can respect somebody like it. You ain't getting enough Pastor Darby. It's done. There's only one Pastor Darby ever in existence. You ain't getting another one. I'm not him. I will never be him and don't want to be. There's never going to be nobody like Pastor Darby. So you get one of him and that's it. But just because they not the same man, I say it's not the man, it's the message. And when you see the message that they giving about live right, about do this, about do that, God this and God that, I said, you start to realize like whether it's Daddy doing it or Mama doing it or a Latino doing it or a white man doing it, it's all the same spirit. When you love God, you love God. You don't care about who's preaching it. And that let me know, I was like that. I said, I can respect somebody like that. And that's why I said at the time, I was putting on all Pastor Darby messages. I said, well, I started binge watching everything, man. I said, I watched Who We Are, Negro Land, The Nephilim, Rome, Zion. I said, bro, I was watching all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, bro, why? I was like, why am I watching these? I said, I never watched Daddy messages, man. I said, because, I mean, I was there. I don't need to watch this. You know what I'm saying? But I watched it the whole time in the airport, man. People was looking at me because I was so excited. People was looking at me in the airport. They was like, what's wrong with you? And I said, if only you knew the breakthrough I just got. I said, if only you knew what I just experienced, man. I said, I'm over here. And that's why I said what I was dealing with wasn't so bad. Because it let me know. I was like, bro, like God got me here for a reason. I said, he's having me go through these things for a reason. And I said, I said, it made me do examination on myself. Like, what's the reason that I'm dealing with this? You know what I'm saying? And then I started to really do some evaluation on my life, man, and started like, okay, well, I gotta get over this. I know I was in a breakup. It's tough. You feel me? Like, I know I'm in a new city. You're dealing with mover's remorse, man. You still getting to know people. Like, this is becoming home slowly, and it was becoming home to me slowly. And so I said, give it time, man. Everything take time. And I gave it time, man. I started realizing that, you know, things did start to get better, man. And so every now and then I would play some of Daddy's messages, you know what I'm saying? And that's before everybody kept messing with me about, you know, Daddy. You know, I wasn't doing YouTube at the time. And then once I started doing this channel, I started doing YouTube. That's when everybody named Mama came out the woodwork, man. I mean, everybody named Mama coming out here and messing with me. You feel me? Everybody named Mama. Every 5 seconds, Pastor Darby. Oh my God, yo, Daddy. Oh my God, yo, Daddy. I'm like, who are you and what are you talking about? And then I'm like, well, I can't be mad at him because I'm like, I said the same thing when I watched it. I was like, Steve, yo, Daddy. I said, yo, Daddy, show is cold. I was like, bro, like, I know that. That's my daddy. You know what I'm saying? But I said, I know why people are like that, man. It's just like the word hit you, man, where you at. And the word really hit me, man, because I needed to hear that. You know, I was chasing relationships. I was chasing money. You know what I'm saying? I was chasing friendships and, you know, a new city, new life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I wasn't really chasing what I was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love God, but I said I wasn't really putting God first. You know, I was putting some woman over him. I was putting some money over him, or my financial struggles, or this and that. Like, I was going through a lot of it. I was putting that over him and didn't realize that God was trying to get me, man. He was trying to get my heart. You feel me? And once I seen that, man, that's when I started to understand. And I said, you think your life has to be pixel perfect, like you ain't gonna go through nothing. I said, you in a new city. And I said, I started talking to people, because a lot of people from San Antonio are not from San Antonio. So they all start talking too. They was like, hey, man, they was like, they said, I dealt with the same thing. They said, I first moved here. I was debating on moving back where I'm from. They said, I was scared. I was going through it, you know what I'm saying? And that made me feel a lot better, because I was like, I thought I was the only one dealing with that. And everybody was like, nah. They was like, bro, I'm from Ohio. They was like, nah, I moved from here. And they was like, bro, I hated it. You know what I'm saying? They said that one of my friends moved from here back home because he was homesick. And he said now he's missing living here. Now he wants to come back here. You know what I'm saying? And I said, that would have been me right there, regretting it. And so even mama, I told mama, she said, son, you got to realize what you want to do. She said, if that's what you feel like, she said, then you need to, you know, decide if that's for you. She said, you know, if you want to come back, she said, listen, she said, I'll let you live in the basement if you want to, and till you get on your feet, and then you can, you know, figure out what you want to do. And I was like, nah, I said, I ain't living in my mama's basement. Even though I got some hospitality, that's nice. I said, I ain't living in my mama's basement. I said, that's taking a step back. You see what you're doing? You're taking a step back from what you was already doing. I said, I would have went back to Louisville minus 5 steps. I would have ended up worse there. Because then I would have been like all that talking crazy about I'm about to move and I ain't come back here and I hate this city. And then you come back and you look, you living in your mama's basement now. And everybody like, what happened? I thought you said you hated her. I seen people do that a lot. They would move from Louisville, come back. And I'm just like, why would you come back here? I said, I don't want to be like that. And I said, and I told myself, I said, what would daddy say? What would daddy tell you right now if he was standing right here? And I said, he would have told you, boy, you better thug it out. You a man, you better make it work. And I made it work. And that's why I said it's 2 years now, 30 months going on, I think 31 months of living here. Since January of 2023, all the way till what, June 1st, 2025. That's about 31 months. And it ain't been the best 31 months, but it's also been a good 31 months though. It's been a learning experience. And that's why I said now my life is starting to walk right into what it's supposed to be walking to. I look at myself now and I said, I moved into some okay apartments when I came here. I said, but you know, I'm in some luxury apartments now that's right up the street from here. Like, gee, I'm sitting outside the Gucci and Louis Vuitton store over here, the Dior store, the Tiffany company store, you feel me? The Lululemon, the Coach. I'm all about the rich, luxurious area. Everybody know where I live at. They said, bro, that's a high income area. They said, bro, you living in one of the best spots in the city. We never lived in one of the best spots in the city in Louisville. We was always in the hood, man. We lived around the white people sometimes, but we was always in the hood and the lowest of the low. I'm living in one of the best spots in the city, in Texas. And I really think San Antonio is the best city in the country. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really think San Antonio is one of the best cities in the United States. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a perfect city for everybody, for military, for people looking for a spouse, buying a home, starting a business, you know what I'm saying? Get away from where you from if you want to run from your troubles. Like, there's a lot of people here, but it's also like you could be isolated here too, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a city to get away from people, even though there's a lot of people here, but it's a city you can still get away from everybody. It's a perfect city for all of that, man. Raising the family, all of that, bro. And I said, bro, I did right coming here. I said, dude, you in one of the best cities in America. I said, let go of that white girl. Let go of them people you used to talk to. Let go of the old homies, man, the old lifestyle you used to live. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That was a period of my life I lived a hellish lifestyle. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I didn't always do the right thing. I wasn't always the Pastor Darby son you see up on the stage, man. I did a lot of stupid stuff, man. I still do stupid stuff sometimes. Like, I did a lot of stupid stuff at that time. I lived a very hellish lifestyle, man. Daddy told me, he said, son, he said, you can go out there and he said, look, son, he said, you a grown man. He said, you can go out there and experience stuff for yourself. He said, you can go out there and experience for you. He said, I'm trying to save you from that. He said, but if you think you know something, he said, you a grown man. He said, go out there and party. Go out there and figure out what you want to do. He said, you're going to figure out it's not what you want. And I'm like, oh, Daddy just talking, man. I said, nah, man, ain't nothing wrong with party. Ain't nothing wrong with going out and hang with the homies. You know what I'm saying? Go get some girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing wrong with that stuff. But I'm just like, I thought living that type of lifestyle was going to be a lot better because we grew up in church. So I'm like, we didn't really do a lot of that stuff. So he was like, he said, son, you a grown man. You can go do whatever you want to do. He said, but I'm telling you, you're going to be right back where you started. I was like, oh, man, please. Daddy just talking. Because I'm like, that's just old man talking. I'm like, that's church talk. Daddy just be talking. And so I went out there and I partied. I went out there and went to some clubs. I went out there and went to some parties and stuff. I did some stupid stuff. And then I realized, I was like, Daddy was right. This stuff is not what you think it is. This stuff is not what you think it is, dog. I had the party and wild lifestyle, and then I was just like, I said, Daddy told you, go experience it. Like, go, you gonna find out. Then I found out, I said, he was right, man. Ain't nothing out here. I mean, some stuff was fun, but I was just like, this ain't the lifestyle you want to live. Nah, I'm like, bro, I'm 30 years old. I'm looking at Negroes that was like 21 when we was doing this stuff. And now Negroes is 32, 33, almost 40 years old, ain't grew up yet. Ain't changed their life one bit. And I said, dude, this is the lifestyle you are going to live for the rest of your life. And I said, this remind me of what Daddy told me about go figure it out, but you're going to find out it's not what you think. And I found out, I said, it's not what you think. It really is not. And then you look, you just like, bro, this is just like sad seeing people like this. That's why I said I never drunk, I never smoked, man. I almost did when I was younger because, I mean, of course, we was in the hood. So I went to school with the kids that did, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember they handed me a joint one time. They said, here, man, they said, here, take a puff of this joint. Because I was trying to fit it with them. Again, I got red rag, but it's because I'm wiping my face. But at the time, I was hanging with blood in them. So I was hanging with the bloods them. And so all I remember was we ain't like Crip, and we ain't like none Crip. And so I was never jumped in, but I was affiliated with some of them because I went to school with them. And so I remember one time they handed me a blunt, man. Daddy kept saying, he said, son, don't get involved with them. And they handed me a blunt one time, and they said, here, man, take a puff. And so I thought about it, I looked at it, and I was like, nah. I said, nah, man, it ain't even me. And I gave it back. I said, nah, I don't even want this, man. I don't even want this. I said, here, take this, man. It ain't even me. And I was like, you sure? I said, man, nah, I don't even want that, man. I don't even want that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I just realized, like, that wasn't my lifestyle. You feel me? And then I was like, Daddy would murder me if I ever did that. So I was like, look, she said, preach. Is your name Randaro? Rango? I don't know how you say. Yeah, what's up, Empress? But nah, so I said, like, I found that stuff out. I was like, bro, this not even a lifestyle I wanna live, man. Cause like I told you, Daddy didn't come from the streets. Like, Daddy knows best. Yes, he do. Daddy didn't come from the streets though. That's why I said I didn't realize back in the day, Daddy we from the East End. So East End was blood territory. So my daddy and my brother, my daddy and my uncle was bloods, they was bloods over there. And so the West End was Crip territory. It was a lot of Crips over there. And so I didn't realize red is my favorite color. So I went to school, they was talking about blood, Crip. So I was like, well, I'm red. I like red. So I'm like, I'm blood. I didn't know what that was. Again, I was still kind of young. And so the kids they was really affiliated. I said, I wasn't. We went to school right across the street from the hood. That was big blood territory. So a lot of them was coming over there. And we was banging in school, you know what I'm saying? We was like, I don't like people that wear blue. We was in there fighting in the hallways, fighting on the bus, fighting at the school stops, fighting in the lunchroom, fighting in the bathroom, you know what I'm saying? We was fighting, you know what I'm saying? Throwing jokes, talking about girls, like we was just doing all types of stupid stuff, man. And so Daddy saw that. He said, son, I don't like the path that you on. He said, because that's how I got in trouble when I was growing up. And he was like, son, you don't even know what that stuff is. He said, see, them kids got to fight. He said, because they ain't got no love at home. He said, they got to fight to make sure that nobody come and do nothing to them. He said, you got a loving father and a loving mother that care about you, dude. He said, son, I come from that type of lifestyle. He said, I'm going to have to show you my scars, what I had. He said, son, when I was 14, he said, I had a grown man put 2 pistols to my stomach. He said, a grown man almost shot me twice in my stomach with 2 pistols when I was 14. He said, son, I done been locked up. I almost got a lot of years. He said, son, I almost died several times, man. He said, son, that's not the lifestyle you want. He kept saying, he said, son, you can go out here and experience it if you want to. He said, but I'm trying to keep you from that lifestyle. So one day, Daddy got fed up. So I went to school with my homie. He was a blood. And so he went to our church. He went to our church with his family. And so when Daddy found out me and him went to the same school, Daddy knew what he was into. So he said, son, don't hang with him when you go to school. But I was like, man, I was in my rebellious state. I was like, man, Daddy just talking. I was like, man, leave me alone. I'm in school. That's the one time I get away from y'all. And so I went to school, me and him being there fighting, just doing all gangbanging, doing all this type of stupid stuff. And so Daddy would find out. He said, man, didn't I tell you don't hang with dude? He said, hey, man, didn't I tell you don't hang with dude? And I was like, I mean, well, I said, he said, son, stay away from him. He said, I'm trying to tell you, he's going to get in trouble. He said, stay away from dude. So I went to school. We ended up fighting against, being around dude again. So report card day came, and that's when Daddy had it. Daddy just, he threw a fit. So he came in the house. That was January 2008. January 2008. I remember that, bro. I remember like it was yesterday. Report card day came. He seen my grades. I was so bad, y'all. I was about to get kicked out of school. Me and dude was one of the worst. So we was about to get kicked out of school, man. And so he looked at it. He sat down, and he was like, yes. He took his hat off. He was like, you know, Daddy mad when he do it. He's like, and he looked. He was like, you know what, man? Because at first he started off calm. Daddy always started calm. That's how he get you. You think you cool because he started off calm. He said, son. And then as he talked, he started getting mad. He said, that's right. And those who are in this fortune, I pray God will send his people. That's right, man. That's right. That's why I said I pray for the homies now, because I be seeing some of them. You know what I'm saying? But Daddy was he was sitting there and he was just like, son. He said, see, man, I told you. I didn't want you to go down this path. He said, I was trying not to homeschool y'all. He said, I was trying not to pull you out of school, trying to let y'all do your thing. He said, but you know what? He said, you are one mistake away from falling through the cracks. He said, you already falling through the cracks. He said, I don't like it. So I remember he got mad. He was like, he just pop. So we had a home daycare. We had a commercial daycare at the time. So keep in mind, this is January 2008. It's cold. It's cold outside, okay? It's not here in San Antonio. It's back in Louisville, Louisville, Kentucky. So we were in Indiana about to cross the bridge. And so he started talking crazy. He started talking hard. He said, you know what, man? And we put up on the corner. He said, you know what, man? I'm tired of you. He said, you know what? I'm tired of you. He said, you know what, man? Get out. I said, get out where? He said, get out the car. I was like, where am I going to go? Because I'm like, are we all getting out? Like, are we at a stop? Like, is something wrong with the car? Like, you know, do we need to change the tire? Like, what's up? He said, man, get out. I was like, nah, like, where we getting out? And then he was like, you want to live on the corner with them? I was like, no. And he was like, no, man, you a man, ain't you? You grown, right? And he was like, get out my car, go live with them. I was like, I started crying, like, I don't know where he going. I said, my true gangster was tested. I said, I don't know where he going, Daddy. I was like, I don't know where he going, Daddy. I don't want to get out the car. It's cold. And then he started talking crazy some more, you know what I'm saying? That's when I was like, oh, Daddy will put you out. That's why I said, Daddy will put you out. It was a couple of times Daddy almost put us out, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Daddy will put you out, for real. And so he was like, you a man, ain't you? I was like, but I said, Daddy, I ain't that much of a man. I said, Daddy, it's like 0 degrees outside. I ain't got no jacket, no nothing. And so we went to the daycare, so he started hollering. He went to mama. He said, Missy, I told him. He said, Missy, I'm fired up with this dude. He said, call that school. Take him out of there tomorrow. He said, I don't want him back in that school one more day. He said, take him out. And I remember Daddy was hurt over that, man. He was mad. And then that still didn't stop my little niggerism. I was still a nigger. I was still a nigger. Because again, we was in the hood. I was in the hood. And then that was only like it till we moved to Indiana around the white people. And then your boys truly started becoming intelligent. I started hanging with the white girls. I was like, I started becoming intelligent Steve. I said, it's not Lil Steve anymore. It's Steven. It's Sir Steven. That's what I call myself. I was like, I started seeing the love the white girls give me. I was like, being around the white folk, man, they was treating you right. And I said, Dad, I'm not black anymore. I'm white. So I said, Daddy ain't like it at the time. He wanted us to get away from the hood. And so that's why he moved us over. And then he started seeing how we acted. And then he told Mom, he said, Missy, I don't want my sons thinking they white over and mess with these white girls. I said, Dad, don't you get it? I am not one of you people anymore. I said, this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. You wanted me to change my Negro ways. I said, Daddy, I'm turning into a white man. You won't let me be a white man. You won't let me be great. I said, they might not be your type, Dad, but they're my type. Let me have my white girls. Okay? Like, leave me alone. Like, he was messing with it. I said, so you don't want me being a Negro. You don't want me messing with a white girl. Like, Daddy, make your mind up. What you want? Like, you confusing me here. So then we moved back to the hood. That was getting gentrified at the time, but it was still the hood. And I was so mad at Daddy. I said, why would you do this? I said, why would you do this? I was like, you moved us back here with these niggers. I was like, man, I hate this place over here, dude. Oh, I was so mad at Daddy. I said, Daddy, because we was moved to a street called Breckenridge, so I thought Breckenridge was as a nice spot. It's actually a spot that looked like this back in Louisville, just not as luxurious. But it's called Breckenridge. That's where all the luxurious, nice, rich white people live at, with the malls and everything. I was like, Daddy got us a house out there with the white people? I said, oh, man. I was so happy. I said, oh, man, I love that area out there. And then I realized it's not a Breckenridge with an I, it's a Breckenridge with an E. I said, no. I was so mad because it was right across the street from the hood. It was right across the street from where I went to middle school at. That's when I got in all my fights. I was gang banging. I was doing all that with the homies. I said, no, why would you move me back here? Because right up the street was the first church we ever had. It was literally like 20 steps away. Right up the street was the first church we ever had. First church building, which was right across the street from the hood. It was right across the street from the middle school I went to. I said, Daddy, why would you move us back here? I said, why would you move me back to a place I detoxed from? I said, why would you do this, man? I was like, bro, you moved me back here with these Negroes. Oh, I was so mad, bro. And he said, no, I don't want my sons thinking they white. I said, too late. I'm one of them now. It's in my DNA. I got a bad case of revitiligo. I'm white now. I said, leave me alone. I was like, you trying to mess with everything. I said, make up your mind. You want to be a Negro or you want to be a white man? What you want to be? Like, come on, man. But yeah, man, that was just times growing up, bro. That was, yeah, we lived in Indiana for a little bit. And that's when I told you, that's when I started talking to white girls. They loved your boy, man. They was treat me like a king. I was like, man, leave me alone, Daddy. Like, dang, man. I said, I went from Latashiana to a girl named Rachel. Oh my God, I remember, bro, it was 2 girls I went to school with, man. One's name was Antoinette and one's name was Latashiana. I remember that too, man. 2 of the most ghetto girls in the world. Antoinette was actually a pretty girl. She was actually pretty. Latashiana, I don't know what I was talking about. But I remember they was getting me in trouble a lot, man. That's right when y'all remember that song, I'ma buy you a drink. That's when that song came out. So that song, she used to love that song. So I remember I love that song too. I was like, oh, Latashiana likes that. I was into some hood rats back then, my nigga. And I look at myself, I'm just like, ew. I said, ew, man. And then when I got around white girls that was talking about they Swifties, talking about, I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. I said, oh, I can get with that. I said, I went from buying you a drink to talking about, I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. I said, yeah, I like some white girls like that. I said, yeah, I love my white girls with their tunes. We riding around listening to their country. I was getting changed, man. I said I had a couple of Swifties over there, man. A lot of girls over there like Taylor Swift. I was living La Vida Loca. I was like, bro, Daddy took that away from me. Cause he kept saying, he said, hey man, get away from these white girls. I was like, leave me and the white girls alone, dude. The white girls ain't bothering nobody, man. You mess with the white girls. And mama definitely didn't like them white girls. Oh my God, man. If anybody didn't like white girls, mama didn't. So I used to taunt mama on purpose. I would taunt mama with white girls. I would be like, oh man, I love blonde hair. Oh my gosh. Oh, my hair fell off. Hold on. I said, oh mama, I love blonde hair. And I said, yeah, how do black women get their hair to be blonde even though they're not naturally blonde? She said, well, that's because they put wigs in their hair. And it's because they trying to look like somebody else. She said, them girls trying to look like us. And I was like, mama, why you got to pop your neck with it? Like, why you got to get all mad about it? I just asked the question. And I would look at it, I would be so condescending. I was bad about that. I would be so condescending. I said, mama, why you got to be so angry? I was like, I just asked the question. I was like, why you so mad for? I was like, yeah, what you so mad for? I was like, so, black women are better than whites, but yo, man, I was like, I used to taunt mama with that. Because she would taunt me, so I was like, okay, well, we're going to have a thing going back and forth. I said, I'm going to let you know what's up. But, yeah, after that, I was just like, man, I don't like none of y'all. I don't like black or white. I like Arabian. I am Arabian now. Every year I change it up. I'm a new race. But nah, man, that's why I said I went through that, man, Anyways, long story short, man, that's what I was saying. Like, when I started putting on Pastor Darby's messages, man, I started listening to Daddy myself. A lot of that changed, man. A lot of that really did change my situation and what I was going through, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what that's like to be alone, man. That's why I talk to people on here that's also facing a lot of loneliness, man. I know what that's like to be in one of the darkest places of your life. You feel me? Because moving here, as good as it was supposed to be, I said moving here was one of the darkest times I've ever had in my life, man. I've never experienced what I did when I moved out here. There was only several times that was the darkest places. The night we lost Daddy, that was one. The night Daddy died, getting shot, and then moving to San Antonio, bro. That was literally 3 of the darkest nights I've ever had in my life, man. That was tough. And that's why I said I don't think people really realize, like, bro, life be lifing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't deal with it. I said a lot of us, man, we got PTSD and don't even know it. A lot of us got anxiety and don't even know it. You feel me? And I said, especially in our community, man, we talk to just be like, oh, that's everyday life. That's why I said it was everyday life, man, going to bed hearing gunshots. It was everyday life. Somebody up the street got shot. You feel me? Everyday life, like, oh, man, somebody died up the road. You feel me? Like, dead body over here. You know what I'm saying? White sheets, red tape over here. Like, it was normal seeing that. And I was like, that's how normal things was. We got a sister, man. She's still part of our ministry. She was the very first member we ever had at this ministry. Very first member we ever had. And she lived in the hood. And she was scared to come outside because she's seen everything that was happening out there. That's how it is out there, man. Like, you so used to it. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? We had a young dude, man, that came to our church a couple of months after it first opened. And he was a good dude, man. Got married. I think he was the first person Daddy actually married off. Young dude. He's like 19, 20. Got married off, man, had him a nice wife, trying to start him a nice family, man. He got in a fight and got killed, man. Like a couple of weeks later, got killed, man. That's just sad, man. And I'm just like, that's the norm. That's literally the norm, man. Getting shot, getting killed, going to jail, negative influences, trauma. You know what I'm saying? Just like, it's sad, man, that's what our life is like, man. That's what it's like here in Louisville, you feel me? And that's why I said it's happened for so long, man. Like, I was tired of seeing it, man. People just dying every day, man. Gang warfare, you know what I'm saying? People can't act right, man. Like I said, people breaking into everything, stealing your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now it's crazy. Now little Negroes is turning up the city. Because Daddy tried to say it at first. He was like, oh, no, it ain't Louisville. It's every other city. I'm like, no. I said, no, it ain't, nah, Daddy, nah. He ain't going to try to. He tried to put Miami down because he knew I wanted to go there. And he knew I wanted to live in, like, California and stuff. He said, man, you don't know what's happening over there. I said, well, I know what's happening here. I said, no. I was like, nah, you ain't gonna diss every other city because you like Louisville. And then he started seeing how bad Louisville started being. Louisville started getting worse and worse. And I said, it turned out Louisville was worse than Long Beach. Louisville was worse than Fort Lauderdale, than Miami. Louisville was worse than New York City. And we a smaller city than all them places. And the murder rate was higher here than it was there. And I said, no, you ain't gonna put down everywhere else try to make like, cause you ain't want us to go there. I said, no, we more in danger of being in Louisville than anywhere else in the world. I said, bro, I only got shot in my hometown. I took a bullet in my own hometown before I took a bullet anywhere else. So that lets you know right there. Yeah, no, that's why I said, I'm done, I'm moving. Once I caught that bullet, I was like, you know what? My own hometown's the only place that don't treat me with respect. I said, I'm done. And I said Daddy knew that. That's why he did conferences in somewhere else. He knew he wasn't gonna get no respect in Louisville. So I said, nah, you trying to downplay it. I said, nah, I ain't gonna downplay it no more. I said, this city's terrible. This city sucks. And that's why I was like, nah, I'm not living here another year. I said, I'm not being here another year. I don't care how you feel, what you say, I'm not living here another year. And people looked at me crazy because I was moving. That's why when I was moving, I did not tell people right away. I did not tell my friends and people I knew right away that I'm moving because I knew the minute you open your mouth and say something, a whole bunch of negativity gonna come. Everybody gonna be looking crazy at you like, why would you move? How's you gonna do that? Yeah, y'all think you're selfish. I think you just don't understand what like they just automatically put you down. You ain't getting out of here. You ain't moving. Like that's what people do down there. And they would speak stuff over you, bro, before you can even make a move. So I knew, don't say nothing, be quiet. I knew when you do stuff in silence. Because when you get around other Negroes, I don't know how it is with white people and everybody else, but I know how it is when you get around Negroes. Negroes are the first people to negative speak. That's why I told you, believe me, ain't no white people gonna negatively speak you like that. We was taught that for years that white people don't want you in their neighborhoods. White people don't want to see a nigga with money. I said, you know who don't want to see a Negro with money more than white people? Negroes. I'm trying to tell you, I said, no, it ain't just a white thing. It's Negroes too. Negroes are more hating on you than anybody else. When I told people I was moving, a lot of white people, they was happy. They was like, oh yeah, that's good. But a lot of people say, hey man, get out the city, go ahead and go. I said, Negroes was the only one looking like, why would you do that? Why would you leave here? We got the Yum Center here. We got the Louisville Cardinals. We got, Beyonce came to Louisville one time. Like, well, who cares? That's all you care about? Is Beyonce coming here one time? And they was like, well, Drake's coming here for the Kentucky Derby. We got the Kentucky Derby. And that's the reason to live here? I was like, that's it? We got a brand new stadium that they can't afford to pay. Again, they can't even afford to pay it off. And then on top of it, it's the worst traffic out there. They was like, well, we got a lot of good concerts coming up. That's a reason to stay in Louisville? I said, well, you enjoy your crappy turned up summer. I said, I'm gonna go live somewhere where I get to live this every day. And now I'm outside the Gucci store right now. I'm outside the Louis Vuitton store, or the Dior store, Louis Vuitton store over there, Louis Vuitton store over there, Tiffany Company. I'm in the luxurious area with the luxurious millionaires. You don't see no millionaires in Louisville. You know how rare it is to see a Porsche? You know how rare it is to see people that's driving Ferraris? It's the norm here. Everybody got a Tesla truck. Everybody got a Ferrari. Everybody got a Bentley. Everybody got a, what's that car called? Mercedes. You don't see that stuff in Louisville. It's not common seeing people with success there. That's why I said, I'm like, people can ride up the street all day with Ferraris and Corvettes. That ain't no problem. You ride down the street with a Ferrari and Corvette there, and little YNs are already thinking about how they're gonna rob you. They already set you up to rob you. I'm not lying. They even doing this in the white areas. Even white people were saying, that was like, we can't even leave our cars on going to the gas station. They said, we can't even leave our doors unlocked. In the nice areas, they said Negroes is breaking in our cars, taking them. These Kia boys, all them Negroes, they taking our stuff. They say taking everything. Now, I'm not saying they don't do it out here, but I said, but people have more of a reverence, a respect. They don't have that in Louisville, man. Nobody don't want to see you make it. Nobody want to see you make it at all, dog. That's why I said, especially, I can't really speak on the white. Like I said, we got Jack Harlow where we come from. I think Jack Harlow still living in Louisville. He be walking down the street all the time. Nobody really care. I said, if Jack Harlow was black, they'd have killed that Negro. They would have killed him. We got a rapper there that's from Louisville, ESTG. He's signed to Yo Gotti. They didn't want him being signed, so they was trying to kill dude because they didn't want him to have a record deal because they couldn't get a record deal. They want to kill that guy just because he was trying to get out the city. It's sad. That's why I said when you get somewhere, I said, bro, I wouldn't tell nobody if I got famous, I got rich. Because I know if you tell people there, they're going to rob you for everything you got. Your homies, everybody you know, they're going to rob you. It's like it. That's why I told people, I said, it's best to have something somewhere else. Why would you even want to have that stuff in Louisville? It's not even a place you want to live at. It sucks. I was like, dude, go to another city and build your wealth up. Go to another city and build your life up. Man, you ain't got to stay here. We was taught this is all that there is in life, man. That's why I said we was taught all in life is tragedy. All in life is death. You feel me? You pay taxes and work for 40 years and then you die. Like, that's what we was taught. You ain't gonna never amount up to nothing. You're gonna be some corporate slave. You get one vacation maybe every 2 or 3. Bro, we never had a vacation growing up. We were so busy doing the church. We never had a vacation. Daddy kept saying, he said, I'm sad that our family never had a vacation because we always was doing ministry. We always was doing this, doing that. We sacrificed a lot. That was one time, man, we was homeless, dude. People don't understand. We was homeless back in 2008. At the start of 2009, we was homeless, man. Literally. We lived in some little value place, man. Some little, like, rent apartment or something like that. We lived there for like 2 months, dog, because we moved everything up to Richmond, Indiana. Daddy put $15,000 of his money up there in the building because he had a vision for a ministry up there. And Louisville Negroes didn't want to support him, which is when Daddy stopped. He started being fed up with Negroes in Louisville. His ministry could have been further if he would have moved a long time ago. I said he chose to deal with Louisville Negroes. That's why it took forever for Darby name to get out there, because of them. And he took $15,000 of our money and put it into that. And when it failed, within 3 weeks, keep it 3 weeks, it failed. We had to come back to Louisville. And we was homeless, man. They had no home, nothing. For like the next 2 months. Oh, that was hell on earth. Boy, I hated that. Oh, I hated that. That was right around Christmas. We didn't have a Christmas. We didn't have joy at the time. And you know what I'm saying? We didn't have a, like we didn't get to go on vacations and do that type of stuff. So that's why I tell people now, like we all living life now. Mama living luxurious now. My sister's baby just turned 1. She got 2 kids. Like she's living good with her husband, and she living in Costa Rica with her husband. My brother just had a kid a year ago. Like I said, he living in Dallas. My younger sister doing her thing, and now I'm in San Antonio doing my thing. That's why I said we all living life now. That's all that matters. That's why I told Mom. I said, Mama, we ain't gonna give them nothing that Daddy didn't give them. I said, we ain't trying to be Daddy. Like if Negroes ain't got the word with him, they ain't gonna get it with us. We done. Go on vacation. Live your life. They live their life. That's why they ain't doing nothing. I said, Mama, you live your life. Go do something. People don't know how hard it was on us, man. We struggled growing up. You feel me? And that's why I told myself, that's why I'm working so hard to build something for myself and for my future family. Because when I have a wife, I want to make sure she's taken care of. I don't want my wife to have to struggle for nothing. You feel me? I don't want my wife to have to work another job. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. People don't know why I'm grinding so hard. I said, bro, it's not just, it's for others too. I want to be able to bless a lot of people I see. I said, but I'm working hard because I don't want my wife to have to work a corporate job another day in her life, unless she wants to. I want my wife to be able to be taken care of. Bring her into a house that's already paid for. Financial stability already, so we ain't got to struggle through the mud and grind too. Like, I don't want her to have to deal with that. You feel me? I don't want my kids to have to struggle and want for nothing. I know mom and daddy did what they could growing up. We got a good family. We got a good thing. But I said, but we did go through that. And I know that was how it is. Sometimes that's how it is. Okay. But I said, you can learn. Daddy always told us to be better than him. He said, do better than me. And I said, now I can think in advance now of like, okay, what do I want to have for my children in the future? What do I want to have for my wife in the future? That's my baby girl, man. My wife going to be my baby girl. I don't want my baby girl going out here struggling and having to go through the mud and, you know what I'm saying, giving her empty promises and one day, baby. I'm like, I don't want that, man. I want it to already be there for her. My wife is going to be my everything, man. And I want my wife to come into something treasured, whoever that may be. She ain't here now, but I'm like, whoever that may be in the future, like, I want my wife to be taken care of. You feel me? Yeah, it's like, but God. And that's why I said, like, people don't understand. It's like, you go through that type of stuff, man. That's why I said we went through life, bro. And that's why I said when I came out to San Antonio, it was a struggle. But I said, but so was growing up. So I'm like, we've always known struggle. So that's why I said it was so normal to us when we struggled. I can't tell you how many times, dude, I woke up. Like, bro, my first night living in Texas, my first night sleeping in San Antonio was the best, weirdest night I've ever had. I said, dude, that was the first time I didn't hear gunshots. People fighting outside up the street. Negroes can't act right. Police sirens, everybody driving crazy, running up the road. Like, bro, it was peace. And I was like, it was so weird that being normal was not normal to me. I couldn't go to sleep unless I heard fights, like gunshots outside. I couldn't go to sleep unless I heard chaos outside. Like, bro, that's how normal it was. And then we lived right across the street from the fire station, so every night, that's all we heard. Like, bro, I didn't realize what peace was. Like, you can go downtown and, like I said, I mean, everybody carry their gun with them. Everybody carry their piece. I mean, you in Texas, so people know don't really do nothing here like that. But I said, but you ain't really got to worry about carrying it everywhere like that, because you know people ain't gonna really do a lot like that out here. I had to worry about that in Louisville, like, bro, everywhere you go, we can't even have a daggone Juneteenth, man. We can't have nothing. We can't have no event with no artists coming in town. We can't have no fun. We can't have no derby. We can't have nothing. Because we know Negroes can't act. People just can't act right there. Normal was going to one of these events knowing that it's going to get shot up. Like, somebody going to do something stupid here. Somebody going to get killed before the night's over. And somebody will get killed before the night's over. That was sad. That you could predict how it was going to come out. That's not normal. Nobody should predict the outcome of this situation. You know what I'm saying? But you could literally know, like, 2 people going to be dead by the time it's over. 2 people will die. It's sad, man. And I said, 2022 was my last year. I told Mom, I said, Mama, I'm not living in this city another year. I said, I don't care what I got to do. I said, I'm not staying in this city no more. I love the church. I love all y'all. I said, but I'm not trying to. She said, that's a good idea. You get out. I said, I've been trying to get out for over a decade, bro. Like, I'm not living here no more. And I said, Daddy was trying to move out of Louisville too. That's why I said Daddy was trying to do his ministry elsewhere. He just happened to die before he did. But he was planning on doing that stuff, man. Right before he died, he was about to go. He was about to take all us to England. That was somebody in London that wanted us to come to their church. Because Daddy knew who he was. He knew he was doing big stuff. He wasn't trying to be in their city, man, please. He was trying to downplay it at first. He couldn't downplay it no more once he realized that I was right, that the stats start coming in. 2017 was the worst year on record. And after that, Louisville's been in a triple-digit homicides every year. About 120 to 200 people get killed there every year. We are in the 4th year of triple-digit, understand, triple-digit homicides, right? Not 50, not 60, 100 something, if not more. Triple-digit homicides, dude. That's not normal. Hold on. And I've been on an abundant season. That's funny you say that. I've been on an abundant season lately, man. That's why I said God's gonna bring some abundance, man. That's why I said I look at how my life is now and what I came from. I was like, bruh, I wasn't supposed to make it out a lot of stuff. You feel me? Because I was like, bro, ever since Daddy died, I said, bro, anybody can go, man. You ain't immortal. I said, that was God showing us, like, bro, because we thought, you know, I mean, God forbid, you don't want nothing to happen to you. But I said, but bro, if God want to take you, he gonna take you. Like God wanted to take Daddy, he took Daddy. And I said, dude, you can go. I said, you ain't immune to nothing, man, because you Pastor Darby's son. And I said, when I was laying there with a bullet in my back, bro, I said, bro, I had to realize it, like, bro, that bullet missed my spine by like that much, dog. That bullet missed all my arteries and everything. I said, I almost turned around when I got shot, dog. And if I would have did that, it would have hit my, that was on the right side. Had I turned around, it would have been the left side. I said, bro, that could have hit my head, could have hit my eye. It could have hit my temple, you feel me? It could have hit my, thank God it didn't hit my groin. I said, oh, Lord. I said, Lord, just take me now. Like, there's no reason for me to live. I can't reproduce, reprocreate. I said, Lord, like, Lord, ain't no reason to live now. Like, but I was like, you know, thank God. It didn't. And I said, man, it could have went a whole, let me move this back. It could have went a whole different way, bro. And I said, I thank God every day that it didn't, man. You know what I'm saying? Sit up here, let y'all see the shoes, the reds, the blues. Like, but that's why I said I thank God every day, man, that it turned out to be different, man. But I told myself, I said, bro, that's a close call, man. That's like the 3rd time with me being in that city, man. I almost could have died, dog. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's why I said, like, bro, people don't understand. I said, bro, the devil been trying to get me since I was good. I was a kid, man. I almost didn't even make it out the womb, man. That's how big the devil was trying to get me. That's what let me know. I said, well, obviously, I must be here for a reason. I must be here to do something good. Because they've been trying to kill me since I was a kid. So I'm like, what is the issue? What is it? To not even almost making it out the womb, to being here now. You feel me? I'm like, what is this? And so that's when I started realizing, I was like, bro, you meant for so much more. And I said, now that I'm looking how influential I am, how good the music is that I do, I said, that's because you're going to do big, great things. I don't know if you can see Louis Vuitton in the background. But I was like, you're going to do big, great things, man. And even being on here talking, man, that's why I said every live stream, I never know what to talk about. I never know what the topic's going to be about. I didn't even have a topic today talking to y'all. I was just over here, you know, I just be on here ranting. But I realize when I'm ranting, man, I'm speaking to y'all. I'm just telling y'all the stuff that's on my mind, the stuff that I had to go through, man. I went through a lot, man. That's why I said the last 2 years of my life, man, they have been a challenge, dude. The last 8 years of my life could be a movie, man. It's coming up on 8 years ago that Daddy died, man. In December, it's going to be 8 years. I don't even feel like it. Like, it feels like a minute ago, but it don't feel like 8 years, man. It don't feel like 8 years. I remember that like it was yesterday, dog. I remember getting a phone call. I remember going out to the hospital, man. I remember seeing him on the table, dead, dog. His eyes just red, just open. I remember seeing that, dog. That was like yesterday. You feel me? And I said, life just goes on, man. Life don't stop. And I said, what would Daddy want you to do, man? Daddy always wanted us to live. Daddy was stubborn, man. He didn't want to take one of our kidneys when he needed it, man. He needed a kidney transplant. He didn't even want to take it. I offered him, man. I was like, he was going to go on the waiting list. I said, nah, man. Take my kidney, man. He was like, well, they was like, well, do any of y'all want to get tested to see it? And I said, yeah. Because I knew, I'm like, I'm a soldier, man. Daddy needs something. I got you, man. I said, here it is. It's just a kidney. Take it, man. Like, it's whatever. It's not a heart. It's not a liver. Like, take it. And he said he was so touched by that. I didn't realize how touched he was. He said he was so touched by that. He was like, nah, man. He said, I can't take it. I said, why not? What you trying to say? My kid ain't good enough for you. I was like, what you trying to say? It came out of you, right? And he was like, nah. He was like, nah, man, I'd rather die if I take something from here. I said, yeah, I got your whole life ahead of you. I said, well, what is life without you here? I said, if you could die from this, what is having a life here without you being here, right? And I said, I was like, with all due respect, I said, you did tell us when we get older one day, we're going to be able to give back to you, right? I said, this is our way of giving back to you, man. Take the kidney. He's, nah, man. I said, I'm trying to help you, dog. Like, nah, man. Like, you know, but he knew he didn't want to take nothing from us. I said, but Daddy, we only got this because of you. We only here because of you and Mama. Take it, man. It's a kidney. Like, I got another one. I could function without one. Like, come on, man. And then him and Mama happened to end up being a match, man. And I wish that would have been here for many more years, man. But the next year after that, that's when he died, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it sucks, man. It's sad, but it's like Daddy wanted us to live. And that's the way I honor him, is by living. By, you know, having a great life. You know what I'm saying? I was asking people today, I said, what's that like, you know, being a mother? You know what I'm saying? Because I want to know how to treat my wife when I get one. I said, because I seen how my father treated my mama. And I said, I want to make sure I'm the best man possible to my woman, man. Like, I want to spoil my woman, man. I want to spoil my, especially my little daughter. Like, I want to spoil my little daughter, man. I want to love on my kids, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like Daddy did us. Like, he didn't really spoil me and Joe, but he spoiled, you know, on brats. I wish he would have spoiled me. I mean, you know, I wasn't special enough. Yeah. Let me see. He has a plan and purpose for you, man. You in Tennessee? What's up with Tennessee? Like, hey, are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. I used that joke on somebody. I said, boy, if you don't get lost, I'm gonna call the police. Said this September, it'll be 10 years. I lost. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not easy losing a father, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or a parent in general, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I said seeing it now. The other day was my little niece's birthday. The 1 year, I haven't even met her yet, man, because she lived in Costa Rica, so I haven't met her yet. And I'm just thinking, I said, man, Daddy would have loved that, man. He would have loved to see his legacy spreading off. His ministry's not his legacy, man. His family is, you know what I'm saying? And he would love to see that, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what makes me grind hard, too, is like, I want to do something special for my nieces and my nephews, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do something nice for my family. And so seeing that's what makes me want to work hard every day. That's why I said, when I first started these vlogs and I started this channel, I kept saying, I said, know what you're doing and what you're doing it for. You good, man? I said, know what you're doing and what you're doing it for. And I was like, when you understand that, you have a motivation, man. Like we see people who got to where they at now. Like, oh man, they a millionaire. Oh man, they got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like, oh man, they had to hustle and grind so hard and it's impossible. Like, we don't know what got them there. When they seen their mama crying because they couldn't afford meals to take care of them and their siblings. Like, when you experience that type of pain and trauma, there is nothing you won't do. Like, I'm not gonna let my mama. I seen another girl to say that, man. She was like, her mama's an immigrant. They came here from Lebanon. And she was like, she seen how her mama worked 3 jobs, man, and it was hard on her. She said she was even working a job herself trying to support her mom. And she said, I am not living like this another day in my life. And she worked hard. This girl's a multi-millionaire now. She's only 20, like, I think she's like 22. She said, dude, I'm a multi-millionaire now. She said, I built several of my businesses. She said, I do YouTube. I got real estate. She said, I got stocks. She was like, mama, she said, I retired my mama at an early age. She said, my mama ain't never got to work another day in her life. She said, I go on vacation whenever I want to. I make sure mama, she said, I bought my mama her first house. And I said, bro, that's the stuff that I want to do. And that's the motivation I look for. I said, when you are that hungry, there's nothing that's going to stop you. I said, I know a dude, man, he was sleeping in parks. He was homeless, ain't had nothing. Working a job he hated. He said, I was sleeping in the park, man, homeless every night. He said, I'm a multi-millionaire, man. He said, I got money, take care of his mom. He said, I put all my family on my payroll. You know what I'm saying? Black dude. He said, man, I do whatever I want, whenever I want to. I'll go wherever I want, whenever I want to. You know what I'm saying? And I said, that is the motivation we need. And that's why I kept saying when I did these vlogs, I said, know what you're doing and what you're doing it for. I seen myself with 100,000 views before I had 100,000 views. I seen myself successful before I was successful. I'm on a journey now with y'all. That's why I said I've been going through it too with everybody. I said, because I'm showing people like, bro, we all can do this. I'm on a journey with y'all. Everything, that's why I said I love the fact that everything is not good right now, but it will be. It's like it is at the same time. It's like a bittersweet moment, you feel me? It's like good, not good, but good. That's why I said I'm like, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm happy. I'm happy in life, man. I'm like, bro, this is the first time I've been happy in a long time. Money ain't always the way that I want it to be, but I said, but everything gets paid off. Everything is good. I'm still happy. God is still taking care of me. He's showing me right in front of my face. He's taking care of me. I said, God, I love you. He wants you to have this stuff. And now I say, it don't make me a punk to call. I thought it would make me a punk. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna call God for now. I'm like, nah, I got this. And now I'm looking, I'm like, bro, God wanted me to call him the whole time. The whole 2 years I was going through hell in my life. The whole 2 years I was low, wanting to drown myself in a bottle, wanting to be depressed in a house, waiting on some girl to call me back and text me back. The whole time, man, God was telling me, like, call me, dude, talk to me. And then I would pray for a little bit, then that was it. I was like, no, he wanted me to talk to him wholeheartedly. And then it's almost like he's like, are you done now? Like, it reminded me of that part of that movie, if you ever seen Evan Almighty, when he kept running from God. He kept running from Morgan Freeman. And so he kept running and he kept showing up everywhere. He said, how long you got, son? He said, I can do this all eternity. And that's what it reminded me of. It's just like, you going to keep running. God's going to be like, how long are you going to do this, man? How long are you going to do this till you call me? How long are you going to do this until you trust me? And I kept saying, I said, well, I don't know. What if God don't? I said, see, that right there, that's doubt. That right there, don't do that. Don't do that. That's why he doesn't, because you keep doubting it. I said, if you keep thinking like that, you ain't going to never have. And God is literally sitting here saying, like, bro, how long until you going to call me? He said, I can do everything you want. How long are you going to do it? And I kept, no, I got it. I said, okay, you can still do it, but it's going to be harder. Oh, it's going to be hell trying to do it. That's why I said, I don't know how people do this without God. I don't know how they do it. I ain't going to lie to you, man. I tried. I said, bro, I don't know how people do this without God, bro. That's why when they get their $1 million, they hate it. They worked hard to get that Ferrari. They don't even want it. Because the thing that they worked so hard to get, they had to do a lot to get it. It became God to them that when they finally get it, they don't even want it. That $1 million, they still depressed. The guy that made Minecraft, he sold Minecraft for a couple of $1 billion. He got his dream house, his dream car and everything. They said he's still depressed because he got everything he wanted, but it ain't really what he wanted. Money's not everything, man. I mean, we say that until we get $5 million. We ain't giving up $5 million. That's why I said, I ain't never seen a millionaire give up all their money to somebody. They still keep that $1 million. I'm like, listen, we all could take a slice of the dough. I said, look, if you depressed and don't want your money anymore, Steve Jr. would take the money, okay? Okay, I can use the money. Hold on. But the only thing our parents didn't know how to teach us was to live without them. It's true, man. And that's why I said Daddy it's just how he was, man. You know, he wanted to be a part of our world so much. And he is, man. He always will be. That's why I said I'm going to name my son after me, to keep the name going, keep it the third, you feel me? Hold on. Yeah, that's why I said it's only a void that the Lord can fill, man. And that's why I said I thought that was a powerful part in the movie when he was like, how long do you want to keep this up, son? He said, I got all eternity. And that's why I said God can do this forever. Literally, 40 years is but a breath to God. And so the whole time we sitting here, the hardest 31 months of my life, I'm sitting here like, oh, this is hard. And I'm like, bro, God is literally sitting here like food. God is literally looking like food. When are you gonna call me, man? When are you gonna ask, boo? I kept saying, well, God, I don't want to be one of them welfare people that, like people treat God like he's a sugar daddy. Like, well, I need something, God. I was like, look, I said, I don't care. I said, hey, I said, God, I need $1 million, God. I said, God, I need you to come through with this money. I'm not playing with you, dude. The last 3 times, not long ago, the last 3 times I have called God, he literally showed up right there in front of my face. Like, he's done it before, but I never really paid attention to it. I've been paying attention to everything. God, bro. I literally prayed that a couple of days ago. I said, God, all right, because he did it the first 2 times. So I said, okay, well, God's gonna do it again. And it's confident. I talk confident now. I was just like, I'm not surprised no more. I said, okay, God, well, I need you to do this. I said, God, you're gonna come through again. I need you to do this. Literally at midnight, he did it. It was like 30 minutes ago I prayed that. I said, God, do something about it. Literally at midnight, he did it. That's why I said, you can't convince me, man, that God don't listen. You can't convince me God is not hearing my cries. And say, like, man, please. That's why I said, be an atheist if you want to. Trash God's name all you want to. I refuse to use the name of my Lord in vain. I refuse to believe that God is fictionary because I can't see him. I see him now. He's doing it. He's literally doing it in front of my face. It's like, what else does God got to do? Does he got to come down and part the waters for you to believe him finally? Like, what? I said, even if they seen, because I kept saying, well, maybe if they just see a glimpse of God. I said, even if they seen, they still would not believe. Oh, nah, CGI, man. Nah, see, man, it's just the particles in the air, and when the particles hit the negative energy, that's what people do. Like, oh, no, it's just science, a scientific fact. Like, no, it's just the wind happened to be as strong as it did that day. It was a tornado mixed with a hurricane. That's why the water's parted. They not gonna believe it was God. They gonna come up with some explanation. Oh, no, it's just all a figment of your imagination. So that's why I let me know. I said God can come down in human flesh. He was here in human flesh for 33 years. His name was Jesus, and they still didn't believe. So ain't no need to sit right here and keep on trying to convince Negroes. So that's why I said, I'm just like, you know what, man, God worked for me. That's all I care about now. That's why I said, I don't care who walk in and out of my life. I don't care who wants to be a part of my channel, or my chat, or my life, or some girl I'm talking to, or some nigga that can't act right. I said, bro, God got me. When I realized that's an infinite, all-seeing being that loves me for me, that puts good stuff in my life. That's all I need. I don't need you. I don't need them. I don't need the crowd. I love my family, but if all my family turn their back on me tomorrow, God got me. When I came out to San Antonio, it was just me. And the whole time, God has been walking with me. When people walked in my life and when they walked out of my life, God was with me. When that lovely white girl that I talked to, that I was in love with, didn't want to be with Stevie anymore, God was still with me. And then that's when I started watching all of Pastor Dory's messages. I was like, bro, God's with me the whole time. And that's why I said, I'm like, the fact that God is literally, and I'm saying, okay, God's going to keep, and that's why I said, you talk confident. I told you, God works for me, and I work for him. And when you realize y'all got a partnership going on, I said, man, shoot. Ain't nobody going to, ain't nobody throwing me off. People can do whatever they want to. They can say whatever they want to. God has always come through for me whenever I call him, whenever I need him. So I don't got no issue or no reason to doubt him now. I said, God didn't let the bullet take me out. He didn't let the car accident take me out. He didn't let the potential sickle cell anemia before I was born take me out. God didn't let me drown in the ocean when I was fighting for my life out there. He didn't let that take me out. So why am I going to let something as small as this, a bill, financial, mental, why am I going to let something as small as this take me out? I'm a soldier. I survived, right? So I'm like, why would God not show up now? My life is worth more than any treasure, any riches in the world. That's how God views us. So if he see fit to save my life, why would he not provide me with the things in my life? You got to look at it that way. That's why I said, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself. That's why I said I hate the fact that I sound like I'm preaching, but I'm like, but bro, I really do be talking, because I'm just like, no, we need to see that. If God seemed fit for you not to get taken out by that car accident or that gunshot that was supposed to take you out, then why would he not give you a nice life? He got you here for a reason. He ain't gonna just let you dress up in rags and walk out with busted up shoes. Like, no, God's the ultimate provider, right? So I said, God, provide. I said, you want me to do the music, right? You bless my hands to do the music, right? I said, well, then touch the music so that it reaches other people, so that it gives you more glory. Let my stuff go viral. Let it take care of me so I can take care of people and so it can take care of you. I said, God, you want me to do this? Bless it. You want me to talk to the people, then bless my channel, bless my music so that I can reach people that way. And then he does. I start talking in authority. I'm not like, well, God, hopefully you do. Well, can you at least? I'm like, no, do it. It says speak in authority. I'm speaking in authority. I said, God, do it. I'm literally walking outside talking to the air. Nobody around. I'm talking hard crazy to myself. I said, God, you are going to do something. Bro, I was literally doing it. I said, you are going to do something about this. I said, I don't know. I threw my hands up. I said, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to tell you, God. I said, I don't know. You already know what I'm dealing with. I said, you know what it is, therefore do something about it. I said, you are going to have to do something about my situation. I said, because God, I don't know another way. And when I said that, man, he showed up. Literally. The next day that I said that, I was experiencing a really bad, severe anxiety attack. I think that's what it was. I was stressed out. My heart rate was like 140, 150, dog. Literally thought, and my homie just went through that too the other day. He said, bro, I feel like I was going to die. I said, bro, that's how I felt. I felt like I was about to die, dude. And I curled up on the couch and I said, if I'm going to die right here. And he said, bro, I told myself on the side of the road, he said, if I die, I want to die at home. He went home. And I was like, this is it. Even though I know it wasn't, but I was just like, but that's how you thinking. He was like, if I'm dying right here, I say, I'm dying right here. I wasn't going to call nobody, wasn't going to tell nobody. I was like, I'm good. And I took a nap that night and literally turned it on Wednesday night service on Destiny Ministries, and they was hitting my same issue I was dealing with. And then my homie called me up to go to that Christian cafe we went to, and some girls was having a little Bible study over there, and we joined them, and they was talking about the same exact thing that we was talking about. We all was in Psalms 23 and didn't even know we was even talking about Psalms 23. We all was like, I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about this today. I just got to listen to that today. I was thinking about that today. I was like, bro, and synchronicity. And that's how I knew. Literally, 3 days later was the best day. That was the worst day of the year. 3 days later was the best day of the year. I told you, God blessed me literally that day. God literally blessed me that I went to get some good soul food with some good soul people, had good soul gospel music. I'm literally sitting there. I said, God, this is a perfect, it feels great outside. It looks like this out here. That's how it looked. The neighborhood looked like it's beautiful. I walked outside. I said, how could this day get more perfect? Making connections, good food with everybody, to-go plates, all of that. And then somebody did something so nice, man. God literally did something else in my life, literally like 10 minutes later. I was overwhelmed, bro. I was trying to hold it back. I was trying to talk to people. I said, hold on, y'all. I went outside, bro. I broke down crying. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I broke down crying like a kid. I cried like I was 3. Literally. I was like, bro, I went outside and cried like I was 3, man. I don't remember the last time I really did it, but I cried like I was a toddler, dude. And I was like, God, you still looking out for me. I said, you showing me that everything is okay. You showing me that you got me, no matter what happens. And I said, I know I don't always thank you like I should. But I said, but God, I really do bless you. I really do thank you for that. Because right when I was praying on that, you keep showing up and showing me. I went outside and bawled my eyes out, man, like I was 3 years old, man. You know, you come in, wipe it out, you know, you come back in, you know, you all like, hey, what's up, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want nobody to know. But I said, but that was my moment with God. That was my moment that I had to feel. And that let me know, like, son, that was like God saying, son, everything's all right, man. I got you. And once I realized that, I said, I forgot the whole time it was a God I can call on. I kept trying to do everything myself. And I said, look what happens when you do stuff yourself. You're stressing yourself out. That's why you feel like you're dying. Because you're trying to do everything by yourself. And then God let me know that he got me. And ever since that day, I've been better. I've been sitting back. Last minute, I swear to you, God is like last minute. He can be whenever, but it's like, I think he likes to do stuff last minute just to test you. I really think God's like that. He'll do stuff like God can do it today. He can do it whenever he wants to. He can do it 1,000 times. But it's like he gonna wait till the last minute, the last hour before he does anything to see if you still gonna believe him. I promise. It's like he does that, dude. And he does stuff last minute. I said, all right, God, well, this is the last day. I say, you know, I need this money. I need you to do this, need you to do that. Literally at midnight, he did it. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Don't we serve a great God? But God, right? But God, that's why I said, you can't throw me off, man. That's why I get excited. Because I said, if God is doing this now, that means he's about to do something extremely big. I keep saying that, bro. He's about to do something extremely big, man. Hold on. This disciple, man. He's still and quiet. He speaks and moves. Everybody, sorry, bro. Girl. Yeah, it's all right. Like I said, I love the girl, but she just wasn't the one. She was my favorite. I seen it the other day. I was like, come back to me. I was like, a whole new world. A dazzling place I never knew. A whole new world beyond our point of view. I was like, oh, I miss Princess Jasmine. She was my Cinderella. But I said, it's okay, God got me a better Cinderella installed. That's whatever. That's why I got to a point. That's why I made myself stop being in relationships. I was always with somebody. And I was like, be still, man, and hear God for once. And this is the most I've heard God within a year, man. Because I was always hearing other people. I was always hearing mom and them, somebody else, like family, girl this, girl that. Like, I was always hearing somebody except myself and God. And the fact that God is showing me, man, it's just like, hold on. He keeps doing stuff, man, because he loves you, man. And that's why I said, you can't never say God didn't look out for you and love you. If God never give you $1 million, he saved your life. If God never blesses you financially with everything that you want and gives you the recognition that you need, he literally sees fit to you for you. I said, if all I got was waking up in a breath of fresh air every day, that's enough. I mean, I would love more. I mean, of course. But I said, but God sees fit for my lungs to work. He sees fit for my heart to be healthy, for my liver to be functioning, my kidneys are right. I said, I woke up walking on 2 feet. Because some people got in a car accident and can't walk no more. Some people got shot in their spine and can't walk no more. And I said, the fact that the bullet was right there by my spine, it missed me. I could have been laying there dead. I could have been right there paralyzed for the rest of my life. Not just in my feet, it could have hit my spine to where my hands don't work. And I couldn't do keys no more. I couldn't even do music. And I said, the fact that I sat right there and pretty much got hit in a perfect spot, God seen fit. He seen fit for it to miss me. Even though it hit me, it missed me. That's why I said, I don't care no more what people say. I got 2 functioning hands, 2 functioning arms with fingers. I got 2 eyes that can see. I got a neck that moves, that works. I got a spine that is healthy, that is healed. What is my excuse of waking up crying every day? Because some girl don't like me? Because some nigga walked out my life? That's it? Because people don't see me the best because of black or white? Is that it? Well, what about the black people that can't walk? What about the white people that can't walk? Why are you different? At least you get to stand on 2 feet. At least you get to run outside. You get to pick up your grandkids. Some people don't even get to do that. At least, okay, you went through a bad breakup. They don't like you no more. I said, well, so what? Some people's spouse died in a car accident, man. Some people's spouse got killed. Some people killed themselves. So what is your excuse? I get tired of people like that, man. All they do is cry and complain about some dude, about some black and white, about some girl. And I said, well, what's wrong with your fingers, man? Your fingers work, don't they? So what's the problem? You get to still reading right? So what's the problem? Well, God don't hear me. Well, God letting you walk on 2 feet, right? So what's the problem? What are you mad at? If God wanted to, he could snap his fingers, you be paralyzed today and never walk again. If God wanted to, he can remove his hedge of protection and let a bullet hit you in your spine. And that'll be the end of you. That's why I said, I'm like, even though we pray for the best stuff, I said, God, you might not never give me $1 million, but you let me walk. You let me escape my life several times, man. If you ain't never did nothing else, man, you did that. I don't think we truly understand that, man. If he ain't never did nothing for you, man, he saved you. That's why I said I praise God in the good and I praise God in the bad, man. I don't just love God because things is all good, man. I love God when I was on my face crying, man. I love God when I was the most depressed in my life. Before I wanted to pick up a bottle, I wanted to pick up the Bible. I love God when it was bad. When I felt like didn't nobody care about me. When I felt like I didn't want to live another day, man, I love God. I love God when Daddy was here, and I love God when Daddy was on that table dead. I love God when Daddy was in my life, and I love God when we had to put him in the ground. I love God. I love God when I thought he was white. I love God when I thought he was black. I love God when I thought I was blessed, and I love God when I thought he was cursed. When I thought I was cursed. It didn't matter. I loved God, and I still love God. I love God when I did right, and I love God when I did wrong. Shouldn't do wrong, but I still love God. It's like David. Like God was like, David is a man after my own heart. David was one of the worst people you would ever know. David was a wicked man, but he loved God. And that's how I want to be. I love God, man. I love God, man, when it was hard. There was days, man, I didn't even want to live no more, man. Like I said, losing Daddy, I was dying slowly, man. I was like, bro, oh, man, that's why I ain't care about my life like that. I was like, I don't even care no more, man. That's why when I got shot, I was laughing. I was walking around, didn't even care no more. I was like, I don't care. Because I'm just like, it's whatever, man. Like, if it's, I'd rather it be me than my family. I love God in my lowest state, so I know I love God in my highest state. I wouldn't even mean to have this conversation, man, but that's just where I'm at. I've been on that lately. I'm just like, bro, that's why I said in the worst of it, man, I'm still saying God is good. Bro, I'll literally be frustrated sometimes. And I'll be mad. And I'm about to slam the desk. I'm about to get up and throw the table over. And right before I find myself doing that, and I'm just like, God, you good. I said, God, may your name be lifted on high. I said, God, you are glorious. I'm not the best. Like I said, we make mistakes all the time. I don't always do the right thing. It don't mean I don't love God. It don't mean that God don't know how I still feel. Hold on. Amen. That's why I said the fact that I woke up, I said, God, if that's all you ever do for me in my life, man. As long as I get to wake up and still do good, still bring your name glory, still help people, still do the right thing, I said, that's all that matters. That's why I said I'm not chasing money. I want to have a lot of money to save up and do stuff with, but I said, but I'm not chasing it no more. I know God's gonna provide it. Chase God now, because God loves me. The money ain't. The money gonna go. The people gonna go. I said, but through thick and thin, I said, any relationship, any friendship, I said, God, you have always been here, man. You have never left me. I said, you have always loved me. That's all that really matters, man. And all I've been doing is reflecting on my life, man. That's why I said I look back up those times where I thought it was so hard. I look back on those times where I hated life, man. The times I lived in Louisville, even the times I came out here and it was tough and I was, oh, why me? Woe is me. And I look back at them now and I laugh. I laugh at the heartbreak I had, man. I laugh at somebody leaving me. I laugh at somebody getting on my last nerves. We about to fight each other. Like, I laugh at that stuff. Because I said, bro, it's okay. You know you at a good place when you praying for your enemies, man. I used to be petty, man. I used to be a nigga. I get even with you. Like, you do something, I'm going to do something to you back. And then I realized I'm just like, I pray for them now. I'm like, I don't care if they left wrong. I may not ever have to talk to you. I like you again. But I said, but I still pray for you. That's why I said, even when I was trying to rekindle stuff with that little white woman I was with, I was like, you know, well, not really rekindle, but I was like, you know, we still cool. Like, we can still be friends. And I was just like, I don't need it no more. I don't need no people in my life. That was maturity, because usually I'd be like, oh, well, you know, we just need to talk again. And, you know, we probably ain't over it. I said, no, I'm over it. I said, bro, I pray God gives you the best. you know, and I know God's gonna give me the best. And that's it. I don't have to see you. I don't need a sorry. I don't need a I love you or I miss you or hey, you know, I hope we still friends and cool and just hang out with each other. Like, I don't need that. I said everything I got, everything I need is right here. I prayed on good people to come in my life. God literally sent good people. I literally prayed for certain people to come in my life. And I literally met 3 of them in 2 days. Within 3 days of me praying that, I said, God, send people like this around me. I literally had a woman walk past me. She said, I don't know why, but I feel compelled to talk to you. And she was like, I've been praying, and for some reason, I feel like I need to talk to you about something. And I said, well, it's funny because I just prayed that. And she said, well, I was praying it too. Literally connecting. Ran into 2 more people like that. And then them 2 people introduced me to a 3rd person. It's 4 people I done met that I was praying on. Right there. Everything I'm praying on, God is literally doing right here in front of my face. I'm like, how much obvious do you need him to talk to you? How much more obvious do you need him to say something to you? I said, try it out, because I was always doubting stuff. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm like, oh, doubting Thomas. Well, I won't believe it's the Christ until I see the holes in his hands. I'm one of them Uncle Tom type dudes. Like, he's like, I don't know, man. I won't believe it. And I said, okay, God don't got to prove nothing to you. But I said, I think God sometimes does that. He's like, you know what? I'm going to show you. Since you talking, I'm going to show you. And then he show you. What excuse do you got now? What excuse do you got not to believe? Coincidence? No, I think not. Ain't no coincidence. Mighty funny, I was struggling the rest of them days to the day I prayed. Now here comes this coincidence. I don't think so. I call it the blessings of God. Call it what you want. I'm going to call it what it is. I literally had somebody walk past me the other day. She was like, you know what? She went to my church. She was like, you know what? I don't know why, but she said, I was praying on greatness. I was praying on greatness and prosperity and abundance and all of that. And she walked past. She said, you know what? I don't know why, but she was like, I just sense greatness coming off of you. I said, well, it's funny that you say that, because I literally just prayed that the other day. Everything I'm praying for is like, it's right there. I said, God, I don't know how this is going to get done, but I said, God, I said, I'm not asking you to do it. I said, God, I'm commanding you in authority to do it like you want us to. You told us to ask you, right? You told us to come to you. Well, I'm coming to you and telling you. I said, God, you want me to come to you? I said, well, then God, do something about this. Do this. You know how to do it, right? You're the only one that can. I said, do it. And then guess what? He does it. I literally woke up and looked on my phone and he did it. I was like, I started smiling. I said, but I'm like, I'm not surprised. Because I'm like, you can't be surprised when it's standing in faith. I can't be surprised. Like, oh my God, he did it. I'm like, bro, he did it. Right? You prayed on it, right? Would you think he wasn't going to do it? You got to look at it as normalcy. Like, okay, well, you know, God's my daddy. Like, he going to come through. God is the ultimate father. He going to come through. Like, thank you, God. I praise you on high. All right, God, well, I need this done. Do this. Let's work on something else. And God will do the next thing. And then it gets to the point where we're like, well, God, they need this. God bless them in their life. Use me to bless them in their life. And then he'll use you to bless them. I don't even know what we're talking about at this point no more. I don't know how I even got on this. I was talking about San Antonio. Don't know how I got up on this one. I was talking about my old relationship. Nothing is funny. He is. Nah, for real, man. He is more than enough. He always will find a way and will be, man, look. That's why I said, you can't throw me off my rant no more, man. I said, I trust God, man. I told God that night I was going off. That day I was frustrated. I said, man, I slammed the table. I was throwing stuff across the house. I said, I'm frustrated. Like, dude, this is the most I've been frustrated in a while. I'm mad. I said, bro, I'm mad. I'm looking at my computer. I almost punched my screen. I said, wait, this is a couple $100 worth of computer. I said, let's not break our things. We ain't gonna do we ain't gonna do the crazy gamer stuff. They be breaking their keyboards. I froze real quick. I said, don't you dare. I was like, I took that 1-inch punch back, screwed it back. I was like, nah, don't do it. And I looked at the next thing closed. I said, and I took my little bobblehead I had on the table. I said, I took the remote. I took something. I can't remember what it was, but I took it. I yeeted that thing across. I said, yeah, just threw it. The tank over scared. I said, get out of my face. Tank's over and skip it the bed. I said, get away from me. He said, skip it dance. I'm like, nah, get away from me, man. Don't talk to me. I felt like Yzma, man. She's like, I hate this swamp. Get away from me. He said, skip it the bed. Skip it dance. Like, nah, man, leave me alone. And so I remember I was on a rant, man. I was so angry, you know what I'm saying? And I went outside that night, and I'm talking about, and that's why I go on my nights to wind down, like my walks around it, because it's so peaceful. Like this out here. It's peaceful, it's quiet, beautiful, luxurious, no Negroes. So like, it's calming. And so I went outside, and I mean, this is like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm just hollering. Like, I'm hollering at the sky, dog. I'm hollering at the sky. I'm like, I'm angry. God, I'm tired of this. I'm angry. I'm pointing my finger. I'm talking like Pastor Dorg. I'm always, I'm talking crazy. And then I talked to God. I said, God, and I said, God, you gonna do something. I said, man, you gonna do something about this. I said, I don't know what to tell you. I said, God, you gonna do something about my situation. I mean, I'm taking authority, just talking. And then the next day, I felt myself, my heart rate was going up, man. Like I was going through it, man. But in my struggle, God did it, man. And ever since then, I've been calm. And he's showing me, like, I got you, man. So that's why I said I trust him. You know what I'm saying? I trust him. Because God has never given me a reason to doubt him. He's never left me. That's why I said, even when it's been scary times, man, I remember, like I said, I don't like spiders. I don't like going down in no cellar. You know what I'm saying? Going down somewhere in a dark area. Because I'm like, you don't know what's down here. But I said, but knowing the fact that an almighty God is right there on your shoulder. I mean, it'd be nice to see him right there on your shoulder when you're in a scary situation. But I said, but the fact that you know he's with you, it makes you a little less scared. Like, I can't see him, but I know he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't see him physically, but I know he's spiritually here. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I kept saying for years. I was like, hey, it's kind of crazy how people, like, how do you love a God that you can't see? Like, we've never literally seen Jesus or seen God. We never seen him like that. But knowing that they exist, man, knowing that they are here. Like, you choose to still serve them even though you physically can't see them. You physically can't talk to them, but you still choose to serve. You still choose to love. That's an unbreakable bond, unbreakable love. Like, you know you love, you dedicated to something, man, when you can't see it, but you believe it. I can't see air, but I believe that air is blowing because it's there. You know what I'm saying? I can't really see in the future, but I believe there's better days ahead. You feel me? Like, I don't even know why I'm talking about this stuff, man. How do we even get on this topic, bro? You feel me? I was just trying to take y'all out to the Louis Vuitton store over and just shop. Shop till you drop. I'm like, I'm over here spitting knowledge. Oh boy. Hold on. Ephesians 6, I pray that we all apply it every day. Thank God sees fit. Our prayers change the atmosphere. I can see him, but the evidence is not. But we have faith for things on a daily. Can't see. It's true. It's true. And that's why I said that's when I started rewiring my mind, man, of how we think. And I'm on 6%, y'all. So if I die, I'm up the road from the house. So I'm gonna go back ahead and walk back to the car now. So the phone might die on y'all. So if y'all see me going in a loop, or y'all see it like, you know, just know the phone died. But I'm gonna charge it back up in the house and we gonna keep going live. So just know that I ain't off here. So if you ain't subscribed, just go ahead and subscribe, turn on your post notifications. Just keep checking on me from time to time. It's just so pretty out here, man. I love this. I could live out here, so God forbid if I ever go homeless, you're gonna find me living up here on the park bench. Hold on, I'll show y'all real quick. Beautiful out here though, man. So, question is, where did I park? I don't even remember where I parked at. This place is so huge, man. You get lost. This is peaceful, man. I wish I would have brought my charger out here. I would have stayed out here a lot longer, man. It's beautiful. Louis Vuitton. Like, look, they got. I think it's the men's Louis Vuitton store, and then right across the street they got the women's Louis Vuitton store right there. They got 2 different Vuitton stores, man. Look, David Yurman, Chanel, got everything, man. I don't know these brands over here, but they are quite exquisite. But yeah, that's why I said, like, man, with the 6% I got left before my phone dies. Like I said, if it does, just stay on here. I'm up the road from the house. I'll recharge. But this was gonna be a short live stream, dog. I was gonna keep this on a short stream, but I'm like, nah, man, this is stuff like it really needs to be said, man. You know what I'm saying? I want people to have that same type of encouragement I got. They got Lululemon. I don't even know what this is, man. I've never been in here, but I heard it's a pretty popular brand. So nah, man, that's why I said I definitely want to keep bringing that encouragement, inspiration. I told myself I wasn't even gonna go live today, man. I usually don't even go live, you feel me? I was trying not to do that right now, but you know, good night. I am so thankful I have found you by coincidence. Well, hey, if you found me, like I said, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna still be on here. Like I said, it was nice to have you in here, Randera. I hope I'm saying your name right, because knowing me, I'd be a Negro. I'd be butchering Negroes' names. Like, yeah, I'm thankful for you being here. I'm thankful for a lot of people being here, man. I'm glad y'all could take away from my struggle. It's been a struggle. Man, life is not what you think it is, but that's the beauty of it, man. It's like good things always happen, usually unexpectedly, man. You know, so uh, hold on, let me see something real quick. Yeah, I'm on 5%, y'all. We just gonna, if I, like I said, if it starts repeating, you know, the phone died. But just stay tuned. Eventually, I'll get it back on. So I gotta figure out where I parked that because I don't even know where I parked that. Like, got the Apple stove, man. Got a little bit of everything. Hold on. Hey, if you got an Android and you watching me, there's your mortal enemy right there. Mike. Yeah. Yeah. Bath and Body Works, Lush, Victoria's Secret. He said, hey, I like that pink color there. It's pretty. Hey, I remember we that stuff actually smelled good, man. That stuff right there, that's pretty good. I remember we used to go to the store when we was kids and we would go shopping at like Walmart or whatever. And so mama used to go to the bra section. And so of course I was a kid, so I didn't know what that stuff was. So I would look at the women bras and I was like, wow, mama would pop me in my eyes like, this thing, get away from me, man. I was like, what is that? What's in those? I was like, I didn't know what that was. I was a kid. And so she was like, turn your head. Mama always say turn your head. She's like, turn your head. Don't be looking at that. I was like, but what is it? I was like, what makes me as a boy intrigued? And so I would touch him. She'd be like, don't be touching that. I was like, but what are they? I was like, I didn't know none of that stuff. I gotta figure out where I'm parked at, y'all. I don't even know where I'm at, man. Like, I'm lost. This place is huge, man. They got like A through J out in here or something. It's like a lot of. Okay. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, man. Like I said, tune in to me. I'll let your boy. Yeah, like I said, this is a lovely community. But nah, that's why I said I'm gonna watch this stream later. I usually don't even watch my live stream like that no more. But I said, but I'm gonna watch this one later, man, because I be spending a lot of knowledge on here, man, that I be taking away from myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't even realize the stuff I be saying to y'all, you feel me? And then I'll play back and I'm just like, man, that was dope what I said. Like, I need to hear that too, man. Like, I need to hear what I was saying, bro. I was going through it. You feel me? And so, yeah, shout out to the iPhone users, man. Them Androids, man, they on a different type of time, man. Like I said, Android users are, they are not children of God. That's what I said. You got an Android, you must not love God or something. I don't know how y'all operate them phones. Like I said, we got Siri. I got Droid. Y'all remember Droid? Phone. TLC, THC, what's that song called? RTC, HIJK11P, whatever it is. Like, Android. Man, my friend gave me his Android phone one time, man. I was like, bro, let me use, because that's when I was about to give me a phone. And so I said, bro, let me check out your phone real quick. Man, that phone was typing by itself. I said, bro, his Android's got a mind of his own. I said, his Android is crazy. I said, what, they gonna take over the world, man? Where am I at, man? I don't know where I'm at, dude. This place is huge, man. Bro, I've been here for I told you, I've been in San Antonio for 2 years. I came here many times, and I still get lost in this place. This place is huge, man. Let me see. Uh-oh, I'm on 3%, people. 3%. Fit check real quick before I go off. Fit check. Ooh, 3%. Don't think about it too much. What you wanna do? Baby girl, can you love me? And yeah, androids are part of transhumanism. You know how God feels about transhumans. So it ain't like y'all know better. Man, I feel like, bro, if you had your Android in your pocket or whatever, like if I had an Android on me right now, if I would have had that in my back pocket when I got shot, it would have stopped the bullet. It would have really been bulletproof. Them things is like metal, man. I don't know what the things is. Them phones could be considered lethal. Them things be big as Samsung TVs. I'm like, how do y'all put them in your pocket, man? I seen one girl, she put the case on it. I said, girl, your phone is like a small book. I'm like, how do you put that in your pocket, man? She had like a cupcake case. I was like, dude, that thing is like huge. Uh-oh, 2%. Hold on, y'all. 2%. I'm leaving you. I'm up the road, though. That's why I said I'm only like 5 minutes away, so. If y'all want to stay, you want to stay, whatever. If you want to go, you want to go. But I might need my directions back home because I think I'm going to get lost. Because San Antonio is huge, y'all. Y'all understand how big San Antonio is, dude. Like, this is a big place. So, like, look, this place is huge, man. Like, and this is just the one side of it. And then there's Six Flags over there somewhere. I live right across the street from, like, over there. So that's why I said, I'm like, bro, you get lost there. He said, the opposition want me dead or alive. The devil is alive. Whew. He said, devil is alive. A lot of black people say that. The devil sure is alive. There's a black saying, it's like, man, we used to say that. It was like, the devil is alive. Like the rent dude, you ain't got the money. Oh, the devil is alive. Try to put me